Chapter 845, Tianqi Determination. Lin Feng looked at the three Zun cultivators and felt a warmness in his heart. What a pleasant feeling. It had probably been a very long time since the three Zun cultivators of Tianxian had fought together. Back then, they had taught him many things, and now, for him again, they were joining hands to the extent that they had even injured the Tianshu Zun cultivator and wanted to keep Tianshu's disciples with them in Tianxian. Jian Feng Zi, Mr. Fire, you've been silent for so many years, but your temper is just as bad as ever. At that moment, a few silhouettes appeared in the sky. The crowd felt like they were hallucinating. There were 4 silhouettes possessing incredible strength, especially the one in the middle who was wearing a green robe. It was a middle-aged man. The old men on his left and right had a vast and incredible qi as well. Their qi was unfathomable and mysterious, so they must all be cultivators of the Zun qi layer. The leader in the green robe was the leader of Tianshu. He looked majestic and domineering. Behind him was a young man. His qi was extremely powerful but not as much as that of the 3 others. At first glance, one could see that he was an incredible cultivator as well. Greetings. The crowd from Tianshu bowed in front of those people in a very respectful way. Those 4 represented the core of Tianshu. There was Tianshu Zi, the leader, and his son Zi Yunqing. In the future, Zi Yunqing might become the leader of Tianshu. He was incredibly talented and very young. He had already broken through the Tianqi layer a year before. At that moment, he was now at the 3rd Tianqi layer. According to rumors, when he was at the top of the 2nd Tianqi layer, he was already able to fight against cultivators of the 3rd Tianqi layer. Brother Fire, it's been years and you still have a bad temper. We made a mistake, but it was to preserve Tianqi. We never intended to do anything bad. My brothers, don't be angry, let's stay together in peace, said Tianshu Zi gently as if he had been talking about a trivial matter. He looked calm and relaxed. For Tianqi. Tianshu disciples came to surround our palace for Tianqi. For Tianqi, you wanted to take my disciple Lin Feng back to Tianshu, said the Fire Zun cultivator. His voice was so loud that it pierced everyone's eardrums. Tianshu Zi was making things way simpler than it actually was. They wanted to take Lin Feng back to Tianshu and steal his treasures, saying that it was for Tianqi was really shameless. That was an unnecessary mistake, indeed. We can discuss the matter. Tianshu and Tianxian both belong to Tianqi, so we must strive for peace. You also offended Tianshu, but I never offended Lin Feng. I will just bring him back to Tianshu. If you still can't find comfort with that, you can come as well, said Tianshu Zi slowly. He sounded extremely confident and was convinced that he was going to take Lin Feng back to Tianshu. I was expecting a better explanation, but it seems like you're not taking me seriously. No problem, let's fight, said Jian Feng Zi. His terrifying sword appeared again as the atmosphere was invaded by an infinite quantity of sword energy. There's no need to fight. I didn't come to create tensions between Tianxian and Tianshu, even less to fight. I told you, everything I do is for Tianqi and for Tianqi to become more powerful. I want our brothers from Tianji to come, said Tianshu Zi indifferently. Now everybody was whispering. Tianshu Zi wanted the leader of Tianji to come. The Tianji snowy peak was the main peak where the leaders of Tianqi were. What did Tianshu Zi want to do? Suddenly, a starlight appeared in the sky which was growing bigger and shining brighter. It contained a silhouette of a majestic old man. While he was gradually appearing, it seemed like his silhouette possessed a peculiar color, as if he was absorbing the power of the stars. His mind left his body. The crowd was astonished. That wasn't a body, that was his mind. It might be that the Zun cultivator's body was millions of kilometers away. Brother. The few Zun cultivators bowed in front of the old man. The crowd was astonished, having now understood who the old man was. He was the leader of Tianji and the leader of the entire empire of Tianqi. The leader of Tianqi nodded at the few small leaders and said, I am aware of the situation. Tianshu Zi, what is your goal? Explain it clearly. Brother, we are all members of Tianqi. I am also convinced that in the mysterious world, the emperor appeared, and it was said that a disciple called Lin Feng, who recently joined Tianqi, obtained the Jade Emperor's heart. Every influential group will want to attack us because of it. Lin Feng asked everybody to leave him alone to fight against some strong cultivators who are still surprisingly missing. So I guess that Lin Feng must have obtained some of the emperor's greatest treasures, said Tian Shuzi slowly. Finally, he was saying the truth, that his goal was to take Lin Feng's treasures. Brother, since I was able to guess it, don't you think that the other influential groups of the region will also guess that? Nobody knows exactly what Lin Feng obtained. It is also said that Lin Feng killed Duan Wuya, chasing him all the way to the East Sea Dragon Palace. Now, he has to bear the responsibility for his actions. However, he is only a cultivator of the Xian Qi layer and cannot protect his treasures. If other people know about it, they're going to kill him, continued Tian Shuzi. Tian Xian's Zun cultivator's face was becoming colder and colder. They could understand what Tian Shuzi meant. He wanted to take Lin Feng's treasures. Lin Feng cannot protect the treasures, so his life is in danger. Tian Shuzi was speaking louder and louder as he continued, therefore, Lin Feng's only choice is to give his treasures to Tian Qi. That is not how we do things in Tian Qi, said the Fire Zun cultivator angrily. With his temperament, if someone tried to steal his treasures, Lin Feng would probably abandon Tian Qi. We might not do things that way, but we have to be realistic. The Jade Emperor's treasures will attract everyone's attention. Lin Feng will be chased to the ends of the earth by strong cultivators, and we from Tianqi will have to protect him. Besides, Lin Feng is a weak cultivator of the Xian Qi layer. He obtained the emperor's treasures but can't use them properly, they're basically of no use to him. It's a pity, really. If we, the strong cultivators of the empire, use them, then we can benefit from them at their fullest. We could become the strongest empire in the region. Therefore, Lin Feng needs to understand and support Tianqi's position. We are not treating him unfairly, we are just helping him, said Tian Shuzi extremely loudly. If Zun cultivators obtained Lin Feng's treasures, they would become monstrously powerful. That's why you sent people from Tian Shu to capture Lin Feng, asked the Snow Zun cultivator. Many people were nodding around them. They also thought that Lin Feng was, after all, only a Xian-level cultivator. Besides, they were all Tianqi's people, so he had to understand and hand over his treasures. For Tianqi, no matter what I did, everything I planned was for Tianqi. Now, I asked you to come with hopes that everybody will make the right decision. If 4 of the 7 snowy peaks don't agree with me, then it will represent the decision of the entire empire. I am convinced that my 3 Zun-level brothers of Tianxian will not go against the decision of the entire empire, said Tian Shuzi slowly. Lin Feng now looked gloomy. A moment before, he had seen everybody's greedy faces. His fate was in everybody's hands, and his odds weren't looking great. Chapter 846. The Snow Zun cultivator's decision. But Lin Feng didn't think that handing over his treasures was the best thing to do. However, in another group, nobody would have asked him what he wanted. They would have immediately attacked him and stolen the treasures from him. The eyes of the old man bathing in starlight were twinkling. He then nodded. Tian Shuzi was proposing to ask everybody's opinion. The leader of Tianqi couldn't decide on his own. He had to protect Tianqi, and the people from the 7 snowy peaks made up a democracy. Tian Shuzi, you want to let everybody decide, which is something I agree with, but you must first apologize for everything that you did before, said the old man slowly. Tian Shuzi nodded, he didn't care. He walked forwards and bowed in front of the 3 Zun cultivators and Lin Feng while saying, "My 3 brothers, I made a mistake and I want to apologize. Lin Feng, we don't want to steal your treasures, but for Tianqi, we have to see what everybody thinks. I hope you can understand." If you were thinking of Tianqi, you wouldn't have asked for everybody's opinion, said the Fire Zun cultivator mockingly. Tian Shuzi originally wanted the treasures for himself. It was only after failing that he asked for everybody's opinion. No matter what you think, I am dedicated to Tianqi, said Tianshu calmly as if he didn't care. He then looked in the air and said, brother, let's make a final decision. The old man nodded and said, okay, the 7 peaks can decide and their decision will represent Tianqi's final opinion. The old man then shook his hand and in a flash, 7 stars appeared in the sky representing the 7 snowy peaks. If you think we should keep Lin Feng's treasures, then leave the stars be. If you don't agree, destroy the star, said the old man slowly. A breath later, a star disappeared. It represented Tianxian. Of course they didn't agree. Tianshu shook his hand. Not only did Tianshu's star not disappear, but on top of that, it became even more dazzling. They wanted to take Lin Feng's treasures away. The Snow Zune cultivator jumped up in the air and released a terrifying strength. Suddenly, apart from Tianshu's star, all the other stars disappeared. The crowd was surprised by the old Snow Zune cultivator. What is the meaning of all of this, said Tianshu, before adding, you are not respecting everybody's opinion. I just don't want Tianqi to make an irreparable mistake which will affect us for thousands of years, said the Snow Zune cultivator. Then he looked back at the Star Zune cultivator and said, brother, I have a few questions. Go ahead, said the old man while nodding. If you Tianji were Lin Feng, would we solve the situation this way? Asked the Snow Zune cultivator. I've seen Tianji grow up and he's an incredible genius. Besides, I know his temperament better than anyone else. Everything he does is for Tianqi and someday he will become a pillar to our state, to the extent that he will become a leader. You understand, right? Thank you for your reply. If Tianji was Lin Feng, Tianshu wouldn't act that way. He wouldn't have asked everyone to decide for him. He only acts that way because it's Lin Feng, but that's not true, it's just a lame excuse, said the Snow Zune cultivator. At that moment, he didn't look scared of anything and didn't care about giving Tianshu face or not. You are humiliating me, said Tianshu. Am I wrong? If it were you Tianji, would you act the same way? Tell me, said the Snow Zune cultivator looking at Tianshu in a suspicious way, releasing some ice energy. Lin Feng, how do you dare pronounce Lin Feng and Zhu Tianji in the same sentence, said Tianshu whose face looked gloomier and gloomier. He didn't want the leader of Tianqi to lose face. Zhu Tianji was one of his disciples, he might reign over Tianqi in the future. What you just said proves everything. You're saying that you Tianji and Lin Feng are incomparable. First, Lin Feng is one of my disciples. You Tianji belongs to Tianji, that's why you wouldn't dare to make him lose face. Second, Lin Feng is supported by nobody but us 3 old men and you don't care about us, unlike you Tianji's master. You are playing with power, but what you're saying is not the truth. You're not doing all of this for Tianqi. If you were, you would treat Lin Feng and you Tianji in the exact same way because that is how we act in Tianqi, said the Snow Zune cultivator, leaving Tianshu speechless. The Snow Zune cultivator had found his weak point. In his eyes, Lin Feng and Yu Tianji were not equal. Tianshu opened his mouth to talk, but the Snow Zune cultivator interrupted him and said, you don't need to talk again, Tianshu, you are the leader of Tianshu, but you are not educating your disciples in the right way. They already don't care about Tianqi. You don't deserve to be a leader in Tianqi, said the Snow Zune cultivator. Then he looked at the Star Zune cultivator and said slowly, brother, everything we do has to be for Tianqi, for the empire to become stronger, and if we want Tianqi to become stronger, we can't rely on old men like us. We will have to rely on the strong and powerful young people. That is what we've always believed in Tianqi. It is because of this philosophy that Tianqi has become so powerful already. Brother, that's why I'm saying that if we got the treasures now and became gloriously powerful, but that would only be temporary. Not to mention our natural abilities have limits, we are old. In 100 years, even in 1,000, who can guarantee that the treasures won't disappear? Who can guarantee that Tianqi will be as glorious as before? Young people are different, they have natural abilities and potential. But they need things to support them. We have such incredible young cultivators and we are lucky to have them, I'm proud of them even. Isn't this already great for Tianqi? It's a precious gift. We, old men, should be proud. Later those young cultivators will become stronger and they will reign over Tianqi. If they become extremely powerful, Tianqi will become extremely powerful," said the Snow Zune cultivator in a calm, dignified and solemn way. The crowd was filled with ardor and vitality, especially the young people. "Today, if you take Lin Feng's treasures, what does that say about Tianqi's future? You will be destroying our spirit and vitality, our hope. You will make our young cultivators feel like leaving. Our unity will be damaged, just like the unity in Tianshu has been damaged. They are selfish and sly and they only think about themselves. For them, being a member of Tianqi is just like playing a game of chess," said the snow cultivator slowly, insisting on every word. Tianshu Zi looked devastated. The Snow Zune cultivator continued, "I destroyed all of the stars because I don't want Lin Feng and the other young disciples to see the devastating consequences such an event could have on our nation. I hope that, in their hearts, those 6 stars will keep shining. I will teach Tianxian's disciples of our principles, honor and integrity. I will teach them how to be proud Tianqi citizens." "That's enough," shouted Tianshu Zi furiously. "You are praising yourself to make everybody forget that you just violated our rule of law, right?" "I had good reasons to do that," said the Snow Zune cultivator, his eyes were twinkling. From his hand appeared a star. That star was extremely dazzling. It was a meteorite. When the Snow Zune cultivator took out that meteorite, Tianshu Zi narrowed his eyes. The other Zune cultivators were astonished as well. The old star Zune cultivator in the sky was even surprised. Jian Fengzi narrowed his eyes as well, but he seemed to understood. Both of them smiled. "It seems like there isn't only one crazy old man in Tianxian," said the fire Zune cultivator while laughing. His snow brother was crazy too. Chapter 847, Transmission. Jian Fengzi's eyes were twinkling, he looked back at his fellows and was surprised as well. All the Zune cultivators understood what it meant for Tianxian. Outside of the Tianxian palace, many Tianxian disciples and many of them were Xian-level cultivators. Many of them were Tian-level cultivators as well. At first, they were surprised and then they seemed to understand that the meteorite had something to do with Tianxian. The Snow Zune cultivator walked slowly and stared at Lin Feng. He stretched out his hand and the meteorite flew away at full speed. It then turned into a gigantic stone where strange marks began to appear. "Those are holy marks." Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. It seemed like Tianqi's people attached a great importance to that stone. There were 2 characters on the stone, Tianxian. Those words were written with a beautiful handwriting. It seemed like those words contained the power of heaven. However, there was a mark on that stone. "It's the Tianxian stone." Tianshu Zi was astonished. He was fixated on the stone in front of Lin Feng, looking rather greedy. The 7 peaks of Tianqi were extremely old. They had been created by their powerful ancestors and forged over the centuries. Apart from the common treasures which most empires possessed, each peak had its own precious treasure. Tianxian's precious treasure was a meteorite. The ancestors of Tianxian had transmitted that precious treasure at a time when Tianxian was prosperous. It held an incredible power. It was also the most mysterious treasure owned by any of the 7 peaks. It contained an explosive power that the 6 other peaks couldn't understand. Only the offspring of Tianxian could understand it for some reason. Even though most people didn't know what kind of magic it had, the leaders of Tianxian were the 3 old Zune cultivators, the snow, fire, and sword Zune cultivators. When they were young and ordinary cultivators, many people didn't want them to become the leaders of Tianxian. However, they obtained the stone and their cultivation level took off with incredible speeds. Very quickly, nobody in Tianqi wanted to fight them anymore. However, after that the stone disappeared. Many people thought that the stone couldn't be transmitted and that Tianxian was going to decline. Nobody knew that the stone was in the Snow Zune cultivator's hands. Lin Feng, kneel down, said the Snow Zune cultivator solemnly. Lin Feng's heart was pounding, shivering even. He was staring at the Snow Zune cultivator's stone and seemed to be hesitating. However, when he looked at the Snow Zune cultivator and saw him look that solemn, he also noticed how old he was. He looked old yet wise, and one could see some impatience in his eyes as well. Lin Feng slowly knelt down in front of the meteorite. Lin Feng, this stone is the blood spirit of Tianxian. It has witnessed its climaxes and declines over time. It also represents our traditions, said the Snow Zune cultivator. At that moment, Lin Feng understood what the old man meant. However, he still couldn't believe it. It seemed too sudden. Lin Feng wasn't the only one to feel that way, everybody felt the same way. They were both perplexed and surprised. The traditions of Tianxian. Impossible, shouted Tian Shuzi furiously while glaring at the Snow Zune cultivator. He then added, how can you be so careless? That stone is extremely valuable and represents Tianxian. I, Tian Shuzi, refuse. How could you handle such an important matter in such a childish way? I suggest that Tian Qi takes your stone and gives it to another snowy peak. Shut the hell up, said the Snow Zune cultivator coldly before adding, I am a leader of Tianxian and this is our history. I can decide who receives its treasures. If you say that you want to take it again and humiliate Tianxian and myself, I will start war between Tianxian and Tianshu. The stone belonged to Tianxian and Tian Shuzi had no sway when it came to taking decisions in Tianxian. Humph. Tian Shuzi groaned coldly and looked at the Star Zune cultivator in the sky. However, the old man looked calm and serene. The stone had been transmitted from generation to generation by the very forefathers of Tianxian. Anyone who didn't belong to Tianxian couldn't intervene in this tradition. Tian Qi has existed for a very long time, but I've never heard about anyone transmitting it to a cultivator of the Xian Qi layer. Tianxian is coming to its end because of you. It's over for Tianxian. If someone tries to kill him, the stone will disappear and that will be a great humiliation for your ancestors, said Tian Shuzi aggressively. Well, I will be an exception for the history of Tian Qi, replied the Snow Zune cultivator. Lin Feng, from today on the stone is yours. From today on you are an offspring of Tianxian and you are in charge of transmitting it to the next generations. In other words, you are the leader of Tianxian. Remember that, said the Snow Zune cultivator very seriously. Master. Lin Feng was completely stunned, astonished. He had only broken through to the Xian Qi layer. No need to say anything. My fellow said he trusted you, Tian Ji, his talent and his temperament. I feel the same about you. I trust you and I am certain that you can make Tianxian glorious again, said the Snow Zune cultivator. Lin Feng was moved, he couldn't believe it. The word trust was easy to say but difficult to prove. The Snow Zune cultivator was putting Tianxian's destiny in Lin Feng's hands. In Tianxian, I am not as strong nor as talented as my brothers, like Jian Fengzi. However, when our ancestor passed away, he didn't give him the stone and instead gave it to me. It's because of Jian Fengzi's temperament, he's too brutal. I am quite calm and discreet. However, I was able to do whatever the elders and my friends required me to do. Lin Feng, when I first met you, I already thought about giving it to you. Now, I'm going to do it, said the Snow Zune cultivator with a warm and gentle voice. His brothers had told him that if he ever had a suitable disciple, he could give him the stone. He understood now that a real genius wouldn't necessarily attach tons of importance to them. Lin Feng, I finished explaining my thoughts so you can stand up. Put your blood on the stone. By placing your blood on the stone, you will be giving your oath. Accept the tradition of Tianxian, said the Snow Zune cultivator solemnly. Lin Feng's heart felt very heavy. However, he stood up and cut his finger to spill his blood on the stone. The meteorite became even more dazzling. When the blood penetrated into the meteorite, Lin Feng quickly sensed information being transferred into his body. What a mysterious qi! It contained incredible powers. Transmission, the crowd was astonished. They had witnessed a transmission ritual. Now, Lin Feng, a cultivator of the Xian Qi layer, was the leader of Tian Xian. Chapter 848, The Challenge. People from Tian Xian looked perplexed, especially a beautiful girl in the crowd, Tian Qi Shui. Her eyes were teary. Back then, she used to be considered as the pure and holy woman of Tian Xian. People back then used to think that she would receive the transmission stone, but since Lin Feng had joined them, she wasn't considered so strongly anymore. Actually, everybody knew that Huang Fu Long, Lin Feng, Jun Mo Shi, Tang Yu Yu and Yun Fei Yang were stronger than her. From that moment, she already understood that if Lin Feng stayed in Tian Qi, she would never be the leader of Tian Xian. However, she wouldn't have thought that it would happen so soon and that nobody would have the opportunity to fight for it. The Zun cultivator immediately passed on the transmissions to Lin Feng without any arguments. Jun Mo Shi, Tang Yu Yu and the others walked forwards and looked at Lin Feng. They were just as speechless but were smiling in a resplendent way. The situation had completely reversed. At the moment, when other people wanted to steal Lin Feng's treasures, the Snow Zun cultivator gave Tian Xian's most precious treasure to Lin Feng. Now, Lin Feng's social status was completely different. He was the leader of Tian Xian and possessed one of Tian Xian's greatest treasures. The members of the other snowy peaks would never attack him again. Some people harbored evil intentions, but they didn't dare express their opinions. The Snow Zun cultivator smiled resplendently when he saw that Lin Feng had accepted the transmission stone. He looked like he was relieved from a very heavy burden. He turned around and looked at the leaders of the 6 other snowy peaks. Now, Lin Feng has received the legacy of Tian Xian, so he is the new leader. He will have opportunities to fight and become the leader of Tian Qi. He will now fight for Tian Xian. Unless someone wants to betray Tian Qi, nobody may attack him. Now that Lin Feng has received the treasure of Tian Xian, he wasn't only an offspring of Tian Xian but he was a public figure of Tian Qi. He had the same status as the leaders of the 6 other snowy peaks, which gave him the right to fight for the leader of Tian Qi. I have something to say, said Tian Shuzi, still remaining cold. He would have never thought that the Snow Zun cultivator would do something so outrageous. He would have no opportunity to steal Lin Feng's treasures now. Tian Shuzi raised his head and looked at the Star Zun cultivator and said, Brother, can we as Tian Qi's people, transmit the legacy of one snowy peak so carelessly and play with the future of the empire so childishly? If Lin Feng goes outside, he is an ambassador of the empire now. I don't want to see Tian Xian bring about its own destruction. I also don't want Tian Qi to lose its reputation. What you mean to say is that I don't know how to handle such matters. You are saying that I am childish? That I am bringing about our own destruction? That what I've done is humiliating? Said the Snow Zun cultivator. Surprisingly, Tian Shuzi didn't want to give up. Indeed. You gave the treasure to Lin Feng, but first, he had to undergo the exam of the snowy peaks. If Lin Feng is strong enough to go outside, then he will deserve to go out and represent the empire as one of us, said Tian Shuzi. He didn't want to give up, so he had to up the ante. How ridiculous. When you became the leader of Tian Shu, did you have to undergo any exams, said the Snow Zun cultivator mockingly. It's different, said Tian Shuzi, emphasizing his words. At that moment, the Star Zun cultivator finally spoke. What kind of test are you referring to? Now, all the snowy peaks have young people who have received transmissions. Yu Tianji in Tianji, Zi Yunqing in Tianshu, Lin Feng in Tianxian, etc. In order to become a leader in Tianqi, you can't be weak. I suggest that Lin Feng fight against the other 6. We will see how strong he is and if he deserves to be one of the leaders, suggested Tian Shuzi. And why wouldn't Lin Feng fight against your own son? Shouted Jian Fengzi extremely loudly. Amongst the young leaders of the other groups, 5 of them have already broken through to the Tianqi layer, including Yu Tianji who recently broke through to the Tianqi layer. Now you want a cultivator of the Xianqi layer to fight against 5 cultivators of the Tianqi layer, you're ridiculous. You transmitted the legacy to him, you chose to play your hand. If you don't accept this, it means that I am right and that Lin Feng doesn't deserve this ceremony. It also means that the legacy has been transmitted ignorantly, said Tian Shuzi. He wasn't going to let Lin Feng off. You're bullying Lin Feng again, said Jian Fengzi. If you want to fight, I will fight against you. Brother, let them fight, they can oppress their strength and only use the strength of the first Tianqi layer. If Lin Feng can resist for the duration of 1 incense, I will agree. Otherwise, it will prove that I was right, said Tian Shuzi ignoring Jian Fengzi. On top of that, he has already received the legacy, so if he cannot resist for the duration of an incense, it really means that he's weak. How could a cultivator of the Xianqi layer fight against cultivators of the Tianqi layer, said the Snow Zun cultivator while pulling a long face. He hadn't thought that Tian Shuzi was so shameless. The young leaders of the other snowy peaks were all extremely strong. Making Lin Feng fight against them was too cruel. Even if they had only broken through to the first Tianqi layer, it would be too complicated. Besides, saying that Lin Feng could rely on the legacy of Tianxian was ridiculous. The meteorite was so mysterious that even Zun cultivators didn't understand it, and Lin Feng had just obtained it. He didn't know how to use it any. As expected, you don't trust Lin Feng. I think that you gave him the meteorite only to give him a social status and protect him, said Tian Shuzi while giggling mockingly. For the duration of 1 incense, I agree, said Lin Feng at that moment. Everybody became speechless. Lin Feng agreed to fight. He agreed to fight against 5 cultivators of the Tianqi layer and 1 cultivator who had broken through to the very top of the Xianqi layer. Very good. It seems like I underestimated you, you are brave. If you pass the exam and manage to resist for the duration of an incense, I will recognize you as one of us. I think that everybody will acknowledge you, said Tian Shuzi as he then continued, but if you lose, then my snow brother will have to make another decision. Lin Feng, said the Snow Zun cultivator while looking back at Lin Feng. Tian Shuzi was shameless, he was definitely going to try and find all the possible excuses to change the situation. If they just ignored him, then he wouldn't be able to do anything. The Snow Zun cultivator hadn't thought that Lin Feng would accept the challenge. I am responsible for Tianxian now that I received the legacy of Tianxian. If I can't protect Tianxian and make it glorious, then I don't deserve Tianxian's legacy. Lin Feng grabbed the gigantic meteorite from one corner and abruptly smashed it onto the ground. Rumbling sounds spread in the air as the ground shook. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling with dazzling lights. He had to pass the test. Chapter 849, Oppressed Strength. The Snow Zun cultivator smiled in a resplendent way while looking at Lin Feng. Since you agree, just fight. In the air, the Starlight Zun cultivator nodded and said slowly, since Lin Feng accepts the challenge, get everyone ready. However, Yu Tianji just broke through to the Tianqi layer and his cultivation is still unstable. He can't fight against Lin Feng, so Lin Feng should only fight the 5 others. No problem, said Tian Shuzi while smiling. Amongst the 5 others, 4 cultivators had broken through to the first Tianqi layer. Lin Feng matched them. After so many battles, even a cultivator at the top of the Xianqi layer would find it difficult to fight against them. Yunqing, this battle is crucial and the future of Tianxian is in your hands. You must use your full strength and show no mercy. If Lin Feng can't handle it, it means he doesn't deserve to receive the legacy. Showing mercy would be a big mistake, said Tian Shuzi to Zi Yunqing. He sounded like he was being benevolent and was trying to help Tianxian. I will use my full strength, said Zi Yunqing while nodding. His eyes were twinkling. At that moment, the four others walked out from the crowd. Their chi was incredible and they looked enigmatic, unfathomable, as if they were one with the earth. They could borrow the strength of the earth and sky. Oppress your own strength, your strengths cannot exceed that of the first Tian Chi layer, said the Star Zune cultivator. Everybody nodded and surrounded Lin Feng. They were of course not going to use their full strength. This battle wasn't only about Tian Xian, it was also about them and the glory of their own snowy peaks. Lin Feng was a Xian-level cultivator. If they needed their full strength to defeat him, it meant that their reputation was undeserved. Fight, said the Star Zune cultivator. In the air, an incense appeared that was slowly burning. Lin Feng had to resist for the time of an incense. Brother, be careful, said a voice. Then, Zi Yunqing's silhouette flickered as his hand assaulted Lin Feng's direction. It contained a terrifying energy and whistling sounds were spreading in the air. A hurricane started up as the space became completely distorted. That was the strength of the Tian Chi layer, they could borrow the energy of the earth and the sky. The others all attacked as well. In a flash, a monstrously oppressive pressure surrounded Lin Feng. He had the impression that he would suffocate under the pressure. Lin Feng took a step forwards and his silhouette became an illusion. His steps were incredible, he was dodging the oppressive energies with speed and elegance. He was moving so fast that his shadow spawned clones in the air. The Star Zune cultivator was surprised as he looked at the snow on the ground. The pattern created by Lin Feng's footsteps on the snow was interesting. Of course, only the Zune cultivators could understand what was going on. Lin Feng's 5 opponents also possessed some great agility techniques. Terrifying energies dashed to the skies and assaulted Lin Feng, all of which contained different intents. Freeze, shouted one of them. The entire area froze as some ice shards targeted Lin Feng with incredible speeds. Lin Feng jumped into the air and continued using his agility technique. It seemed like he was dancing more than he was dodging. That's the Xiao Yao agility technique, the Star Zune cultivator finally decided. Lin Feng was at the top of the Xian Qi layer and could already use the Xiao Yao agility technique so well. No wonder Lin Feng had accepted to fight. He could use the Xiao Yao agility technique. It seemed like he had gone through a lot of experiences in the mysterious world. Surprisingly, he had stolen the Xiao Yao agility technique from someone and learned it to an incredible degree. He couldn't know that Lin Feng had learnt the agility technique from the demon in the Death Valley. Bzzzzzzz. Lin Feng dodged another attack and accelerated, he was moving even faster now. Then a terrifying sword appeared, the sword intent was astonishing. Lin Feng's sword seemed to be targeting the Xian Qi cultivator. That cultivator was releasing their intent at Lin Feng, but Lin Feng remained calm as he stretched out his hand. Lin Feng crushed the intent with his fist. A cultivator of the Xian Qi layer couldn't rival Lin Feng's raw strength. That cultivator immediately groaned as Lin Feng crushed the intent, he was now sensing a terrifying physical strength which oppressed him. Lin Feng's strength was incredible and it was purely strength. The Xian-level cultivator felt like he was facing a mountain. Boom! A terrifying sound spread in the air as the Xian-level cultivator was blown away by Lin Feng's attack. He crashed into the crowd. Now, Lin Feng was fighting 4 cultivators. While the other had been blown away, the 4 others were still attacking. Lin Feng jumped higher up in the sky and moved easily. Fuck, cursed the 4 others silently. They all condensed strength which shot at Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng's agility technique was too powerful. They had oppressed their strength to the first Tian Qi layer and couldn't use their strength of the second Tian Qi layer. Surprisingly, with the strength of the first Tian Qi layer, it was difficult to fight Lin Feng. They looked at the incense, half of it had already burnt. Piece of trash. Can you only avoid our attacks? You're a humiliation for Tian Xian. You don't deserve to be a leader, said one of those cultivators when he saw that they couldn't catch up with Lin Feng. Lin Feng immediately turned around and examined the people chasing him. I don't. Let's deal with you first then, said Lin Feng, smiling devilishly. He stopped running as his entire body turned into a mountain. He was going to see how strong his flesh and muscles were. Bzzzzzzz. Lin Feng shook his head, and the one who had just insulted him sensed a terrifying pressure crash onto his body. Lin Feng's 5 fingers were like mountains. However, he was a cultivator of the Tian Qi layer. How could he flinch in front of a cultivator of the Xian Qi layer? Boom boom boom, the atmosphere was shaking as qi was rolling in waves. Physical strength dashed to the skies. The earth and the ground were shaking. Supreme hand print, shouted Lin Feng furiously. His terrifying hand attack seemed like it could destroy a mountain. His 5 fingers diffused strange lights. His attack didn't contain any demon qi. Lin Feng shouted the name of his attack, but it wasn't actually a skill. He just wanted to hide his true strength. Boom! The earth and the ground was shaking. The silhouette of Lin Feng's opponent streaked across the sky like a meteor and crashed into the ground. Half of his body was in the ground. Lin Feng crushed a cultivator of the Tian Qi layer. What a terrifying skill, thought the crowd while staring at Lin Feng. How could they know that Lin Feng hadn't used a skill? Chapter 850, Soul Bell. A little bit more than half of the incense had burnt and nobody felt like fighting Lin Feng anymore. 2 cultivators had already been defeated. At that moment, Lin Feng was in the sky and whistling sounds were spreading in the air. Who still wants to see if I'm strong enough, said Lin Feng while staring down at the 3 other opponents. He looked violent and aggressive, to the extent that the others wouldn't look at him in the eyes anymore. From one second to another, he had completely changed. Now they were staring at him with surprise. They had to be careful, they couldn't underestimate Lin Feng anymore. They were the same as the one who was just crushed into the ground. They were also relying on the strength of the first Tian Qi layer. I'll taste your supreme handprint, said one of them while releasing some battle energy. His long hair and clothes were fluttering in the wind. He jumped in the sky and released incredible strength. At that moment, Lin Feng felt like he was facing a large mountain. Dong! Dong! That person jumped again. He was only 3 meters away from Lin Feng. One more step and he would arrive next to Lin Feng. Mountain print, shouted that cultivator furiously. He stretched both his hands and from between them a terrifying mountain appeared. It was 100 meters high and pierced through the clouds. Surprisingly, it's the Tian level mountain print skill of average quality. What a terrifying strength. This time, Lin Feng's supreme hand print is useless, thought the crowd. Even though that cultivator was oppressing his own strength, it didn't have any impact on his understanding of cultivation. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to use the gigantic mountain print with only the strength of the first Tian Qi layer. Lin Feng was doomed. Supreme hand print, shouted Lin Feng furiously. Surprisingly, Lin Feng attacked again with the same attack. Boom! A terrifying explosion sounded, it was so loud that it hurt people's eardrums. The crowd only saw Lin Feng's silhouette being blown away and they gulped down. They were relieved. If Lin Feng had been able to resist the gigantic mountain print attack from a Tian-level cultivator, that would have been too strange. Lin Feng had probably been badly injured. However, very quickly, they were astonished. They watched as Lin Feng jumped up again and looked at his opponent. Your physical strength doesn't suffice. Try again. That guy, the crowd was watching Lin Feng. They couldn't believe their eyes. Lin Feng's opponent was stunned too. He jumped forwards and condensed his strength again. Another gigantic mountain print appeared, challenging Lin Feng's strength. Boom! Lin Feng used his hand attack again. Rumbling sounds and even cracking sounds spread in the air. Lin Feng jumped again. He didn't wait for the mountain to get near. He just threw himself at it. Rumbling and explosion sounds spread in the air again. The sounds were as loud as before and people couldn't stand it anymore, their ears were bleeding. Boom boom boom, supreme hand print. Lin Feng used his hand attack again as the gigantic mountain print broke in two. This time the Tian level cultivator groaned and coughed up some blood. Lin Feng jumped up again and used his Xiao Yao agility technique. He appeared in front of his opponent, who opened his eyes widely, unable to defend himself. Go! Lin Feng didn't punch his opponent and told him to leave. He had two opponents left. At that moment, 3/4 of the incense had burnt and 3 people had already lost. Tian Qi's people were astonished. They couldn't believe that those 3 were defeated by Lin Feng. Even if they had oppressed their own cultivation level, they still had the strength of the first Tian Qi layer. Lin Feng was only a Xian level cultivator, so they thought that Lin Feng wouldn't be able to resist for any amount of time. Now the question was, would those people be able to resist Lin Feng with the remaining time? Boom boom boom, the crowd saw Lin Feng jump forwards towards the other 2. This time, Lin Feng was taking the offensive. A terrifying sword qi invaded the atmosphere. Lin Feng was using his level 7 sword intent. Go! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. In the air, 1,000,000 swords condensed and moved towards Zi Yunqing and the other cultivator. The earth and sky were emitting whistling sounds under the oppressive sword energy. Zi Yunqing's silhouette flickered, but the sword light became larger and attacked the other one. Even if Lin Feng was only a Xian level cultivator, as before, level 7 sword intent was impressive. That person moved his arm and it seemed like a crystal appeared. Subtle sounds spread in the air as the crystal broke and the sword continued moving towards him. Enough! I can't stop you with the strength of the first Tian Qi layer, said that person. He then stopped oppressing his own strength and a terrifying ice qi emerged, freezing everything around him. Crystals appeared in front of him and cracking sounds were heard. The gigantic sword continued moving forwards through the crystals, one after the other. The sword stopped as it arrived in front of that cultivator's head and disappeared. That person stopped oppressing their own strength and acknowledged Lin Feng's strength. He went back to his place in the crowd defeated. The crowd acknowledged him as well. With the strength of the first Tian Qi layer, it wasn't possible to resist Lin Feng. His sword intent was level 7, his supreme handprint was incredible and his agility technique was marvelous. Only one fighter was left, Zi Yunqing from Tianshu. But at that moment the crowd was convinced that he had no hope anymore. Unless Zi Yunqing used his full strength, he had no way to defeat Lin Feng. Otherwise, there would be no difference with the others. Lin Feng was surprisingly strong. He was much more talented than all the other young leaders. Maybe he really would make Tian Xian glorious again. He's really strong because he obtained the meteorite. I wouldn't have thought that he would become so powerful. Yunqing, we can't fool around anymore, let's use our treasure as well, use the soul bell. Otherwise, the battle won't be fair. Tian Shuzi decided to persuade the fight again. From his hand appeared a golden light which he threw at Zi Yunqing, who immediately grabbed it. It was Tian Shu's treasure. Tian Xian's people were astonished, especially the 3 Zun cultivators. Tian Shuzi was going way too far. Surprisingly, he was saying that Lin Feng was only so strong thanks to Tian Xian's meteorite. This was no longer a competition of fairness, but an excuse to defeat Lin Feng. Zi Yunqing was a Tian level cultivator, wasn't this unfair already? In the history of Tian Qi, we've never had such vermin, said the Snow Zun cultivator. He hoped that Lin Feng could resist this final assault. Chapter 851, New page. Zi Yunqing grabbed the bell and smiled. A moment before, he had seen Lin Feng's terrifying strength and considered that his strength at the first Tian Qi layer wasn't enough. He was scared to end up like the others. However, now that he was using the treasure of Tian Shu, Lin Feng was definitely going to lose. Lin Feng was not happy with Tian Shu Zi as he jumped forwards. He used his agility technique to appear in front of Zi Yunqing almost instantly. He condensed some terrifying strength in his fist and punched the air in his direction. Zi Yunqing smiled as he condensed pure qi into the magical bell. It resonated loudly and made Lin Feng shake with pain. Ding ding dong dong. The bell resonated in Lin Feng's brain, giving him hallucinations. He used his broken soul technique and protected his awareness with his ancient bell. However, it seemed like the sound waves contained an evil strength which assaulted both his intent and oppressed his soul. Lin Feng ran away and put his hands on his ears. The magic item of Tian Shu was, as expected, extremely powerful. Use the bell to oppress his soul and stop him in his tracks. Listen to my advice, said someone to Zi Yunqing. Surprisingly, it was Tian Shu Zi giving more precious pieces of advice. Zi Yunqing started making the item resonate as golden lights appeared and shot at Lin Feng. The sounds were so loud that they hurt people's eardrums as well. Even though Zi Yunqing wasn't attacking them, the sound waves were still hurting them. Boom! Lin Feng's brain was shaking as many of his broken souls were dying by the sound waves. At the same time, his intent was being crushed. The golden lights around the bell were becoming more intense, the sounds were getting louder and louder. Bright, golden lights were surrounding Lin Feng's body. The bell could grab people's soul and constrict them. Without a soul, a cultivator became an empty shell. If the soul of a cultivator was constricted, the cultivator couldn't maintain awareness anymore and couldn't do anything. Lin Feng released some terrifying fire and an oppressive strength which both cracked around him. Lin Feng then took out his stone with the word seal inscribed on it. Go, shouted Lin Feng furiously. The stone targeted the bell and turned into a gigantic stone. The gigantic seal seemed like it could contain most of the pressure. The ancient demon seal stone dated back to the antiquity and its sealing power was vast. Even though Lin Feng only possessed a small piece, it was enough. A buzzing sound spread in the air as the demon seal stone sealed the bell. At the same time, Lin Feng raised the Tianxian meteorite and it looked like a mountain was falling from the atmosphere. You seem to have forgotten that we, Tianxian's people, also have a treasure, said Lin Feng. He then ran forwards and landed in front of Zi Yunqing. In a flash, it seemed like the earth turned dark. At that moment, Lin Feng was holding a gigantic meteorite, the size of a mountain. Die! Lin Feng threw the gigantic meteorite at Zi Yunqing. Rumbling sounds and star lights were twinkling in the atmosphere. At the same time, a terrifying strength oppressed Zi Yunqing's body. The demon seal stone was oppressing the bell, making Zi Yunqing become desperate. At that moment, he could sense the power of the Tianxian item. A terrifying qi emerged out of Zi Yunqing's body. His pure qi flowed with an incredible speed, and he was no longer restraining his cultivation level anymore. His strength was back to that of the second Tian qi layer. Bombarding handprint, shouted Zi Yunqing furiously. Both his hands turned into bombarding handprints and attacked the Tianxian item. However, while punching the meteorite, Zi Yunqing was propelled backwards. Lin Feng smiled coldly as he raised his meteorite again. A terrifyingly oppressive power fell from the sky. Boom! A terrifying strength crashed onto Zi Yunqing's body, making his blood start boiling. The crowd was speechless. Zi Yunqing was using the strength of the second Tian qi layer, but Lin Feng still had the advantage. No wonder the old Snow Zun cultivator trusted Lin Feng and had put the future of Tianxian in his hands. He had incredible natural abilities. Boom boom boom. The Tianxian meteorite was oppressing Zi Yunqing, whose mouth was now dripping blood. His entire body had been crushed into the ground and many of his bones were broken. The incense had almost finished burning by now. Cling ling ling, a strange ringing sound suddenly could be heard. The soul bell had surprisingly broken free from the demon seal stone and appeared above Lin Feng. It suddenly turned into a gigantic golden bell and 7 rays of light appeared around Lin Feng. They turned into terrifying rays of physical strength and attacked Lin Feng, again making his soul shake violently. He had lost a few broken souls already. At that moment, he couldn't move and couldn't use his powers anymore. How shameless, shouted Jian Fengzi furiously. His sword qi dashed to the skies and he jumped forwards. Obviously, Zi Yunqing hadn't done that. Zi Yunqi was being oppressed by Lin Feng's energies. Tian Shu Zi could only have done that. Wait, said the Snow Zune cultivator while preventing Jian Feng Zi from attacking, surprising the latter. With that, he stopped moving. He knew that the Snow Zune cultivator wouldn't do anything, so Lin Feng was still in danger. The bell was still ringing and Lin Feng could sense that his soul kept crying. His nine-dragon celestial spirit appeared and was roaring furiously as it dashed to the skies. However, it too was oppressed by the bell and quickly fell back down again. The Tian Xian meteorite turned back into a stone and moved back to Lin Feng. An incredible strength emerged out of it and Lin Feng sensed it. It was a great feeling. The strength of the earth and the sky was pleasantly radiating from it. It seemed like that stone was a bridge between him and the universe. Lin Feng could understand the mystical powers of the universe thanks to the stone. Around him, everything became more distinct and he could sense the smallest details, the leaves floating, grains of sand moving, the snowflakes falling. He could also sense vitality. With this sudden understanding, strength started flowing in his body. It was as if he was one with the earth and sky, a true fusion. It was similar to his world of darkness. However, it was even more mystical and marvelous than those two feelings. Cling ling ling. The bell was still ringing in Lin Feng's brain, his other spirit moved as well, it was his book spirit. The 7 rays of light were becoming more dazzling now. One page of the book spirit started moving. Each time the bell rang, that page wanted to turn over even more. It seemed like it was going to turn. Cling. Finally, the bell rang once more and the page started to turn. Chapter 852, Great Surprise and the Zune Cultivator's Fury. Lin Feng's book spirit was finally taking action. Each time it turned a page, Lin Feng would be pleasantly surprised. The first time, he ended up with his world of darkness and was able to sense everything very clearly in his surroundings and enabled him to understand skills much faster than before. The second time, he obtained a sword which was perfect for him, a black sword, his so-called killer sword. The third time his book spirit came into play, the all-conquering Black Lotus was born. It contained a terrifying power and enabled him to challenge cultivators much stronger than him. Lin Feng inspected his book spirit and found nothing, a black hole. It was a vast, black and desolate world seemingly without anything interesting. What's going on? Thought Lin Feng surprised. What was that blackness? Ding! The bell resonated in his brain again and Lin Feng shook violently, his face was deathly pale at this rate. Fortunately, the Tian Xian meteorite contained an incredible strength which was protecting his soul. Brother! Jian Feng Zi saw that Lin Feng's face had turned deathly pale, so he wanted to help him. However, the Snow Zune cultivator shook his head. The Tian Xian meteorite is an incredible treasure with more than enough physical strength. It is so mysterious that even I can't understand it very well, but in any case, it can help Lin Feng obtain what he wants. Just wait. Jian Feng Zi was surprised and looked back at Lin Feng. He had heard about the mysterious powers of the stone in the past. However, even some Zune cultivators were not able to take full advantage of it because of its mysteriousness. Surely, Lin Feng was less capable of using it than them, and now the situation was getting even more dangerous. Without Tian Shu Zi, that battle would have finished much earlier and Lin Feng would have defeated the other cultivators. Lin Feng was extremely talented. Now, even though Zi Yunqing had recovered his power of the second Tian Qi layer, Lin Feng still had the advantage. He jumped up in the air and threw himself at Lin Feng while releasing a terrifying qi. Lin Feng moved away. He was still inspecting his mysterious spirit and using the power of the Tian Xian meteorite to protect himself. When Lin Feng sensed that Zi Yunqing was throwing himself at him, he raised the meteorite to block his opponent's advance. A terrifying oppressive strength was directed towards Zi Yunqing, rumbling sounds were still sounding. Zi Yunqing's body was hit and blown away by Lin Feng's fist. What's going on? the crowd was astonished. How was that possible? How could Lin Feng use the strength of the earth and sky to overpower Zi Yunqing only by punching him? Even Zi Yunqing, who had broken through to the second Tian Qi layer, couldn't use the strength of the earth to such an extent. Lin Feng was just as surprised with the exchange. Lin Feng guessed that he wasn't using his own strength a moment before, he used that of the earth and the sky. It was as if he fused together with his surroundings, with the earth. It's the power of the Tian Xian stone. Lin Feng was convinced that it was thanks to the meteorite. Lin Feng suddenly had another bizarre yet marvelous feeling. His book moved again and it seemed to be attracting qi as if his spirit was absorbing the power of the meteorite. The feeling became even more intense as the mysterious strength contained in the stone was flowing into Lin Feng's spirit. From the blackness which had appeared on the new page of his spirit, a light suddenly appeared. Boom! The soul bell was still assaulting Lin Feng's soul, but the meteorite was still releasing its incredible powers to soften the blows. At the same time, its incredible strength was flowing into Lin Feng's spirit. From that blackness, more and more lights were appearing. A snowy mountain appeared and stars were twinkling, there were many different patterns appearing. It looked like the world around him and they kept changing in an unfathomable way. Everything was appearing clearly now. Is that the power of the meteorite? Thought Lin Feng. Was the meteorite so powerful that it could make a world appear in his book? In the past, Lin Feng would appear in a specific world of his own and could understand his surroundings. At that moment, Lin Feng remembered what the Snow Zune cultivator said. It was an incredible treasure, even Zune cultivators were unable to understand all of its mysteries. However, the meteorite made the world around him appear in his book, giving Lin Feng a feeling of superiority, like he was reigning over the region. It's time for the Tian Qi layer. Lin Feng concentrated as his entire body fused together with his surroundings. With the earth and sky, Lin Feng became an authentic part of his surroundings, he was an element of nature. His soul and the earth were in symbiosis. Lin Feng's awareness had become extremely calm and peaceful. In fusion with the earth, he also possessed godly awareness, he rose up in the air and looked like he was standing aloof from worldly affairs, as if he hadn't existed at all. In the air around him, pure qi was whistling and penetrating into his body. His body was sucking it all in from the air. That qi quickly became a vortex. His pure qi wasn't enough, so he had to borrow the strength of the earth and the sky. Suddenly, Lin Feng broke through to the Tian Qi layer. People were astonished and shaking. Not only had Lin Feng surprised everybody with his incredible strength, now he had broken through to the Tian Qi layer as well. The bell was still ringing and surprisingly, Lin Feng was becoming stronger. Cling ling ling. The bell kept resonating. The Snow Zune cultivator's long hair was fluttering in the wind, he was furious as he was releasing some qi. Lin Feng was about to break through to the Tian Qi layer and Tian Shu Zi, that bastard, wanted to attack him. The Snow Zune cultivator jumped and appeared in front of the soul bell. Then he began attacking it. How audacious! You even dare attack the precious item of Tian Shu, shouted Tian Shu Zi furiously, but inside he was smiling. He then released his awareness which fused together with the bell and he attacked the Snow Zune cultivator. Tian Shu Zi, I don't like causing trouble, but do you really think that I am not as strong as you? You're just a loser, said the Snow Zune cultivator smiling coldly. Then his awareness turned into a terrifying kind of snow which enveloped the bell. Tian Shu Zi couldn't react fast enough, it seemed like his awareness was frozen, as he immediately turned pale. How is that possible? Tian Shu Zi couldn't believe what was happening. How could the Snow Zune cultivator's awareness be so strong? Chapter 853, Sealed for a year. Even though the snow cultivator held an inferior cultivation level, he possessed a stronger awareness and had frozen the soul bell. Now, the amount of awareness which Tian Shu Zi put inside the bell was frozen along with it and his soul was injured because of that. Break, shouted Tian Shu Zi furiously. Some of his awareness turned into golden bells and made the air around the soul bell shake. Kacha! The sword Zune cultivator appeared in front of him. His awareness turned into a sharp sword and cut through the golden bells. At the same time, in the air, a terrifyingly sharp sword fell down. Dazzling lights were twinkling everywhere now. You really think that our meteorite is so useless? Even though my brother's attacks aren't as powerful as mine, his awareness is incredibly powerful. Even with your soul bell, you can't do anything, said Jian Fengzi while his sword was still falling from the sky. Tian Shuzi abruptly moved backwards, that soul could really kill him. Tian Shuzi yelled furiously and released Qi which dashed to the skies. Around him, snowflakes flew away as he raised his 5 fingers and a gigantic hand appeared in the AI. It was supposed to catch Jian Fengzi's sword. Break! The sword released a myriad of lights that seemed like it wanted to tear through anything in its way. That powerful hand was destroyed and the sword continued falling. Piss off, shouted Tian Shuzi while pulling a long face. He released another attack as a vortex appeared which absorbed everything around it like a black hole. The crowd couldn't stand it, it was unbearable. They all moved backwards to stay safe. Finally, the sword disappeared. The Zune cultivators' attacks were incredible, they had to use their full strength just to watch. But even a superficial look at the sword was enough to understand Jian Fengzi's power. If Tian Shuzi attacked again, Jian Fengzi would probably lose control of himself. The Snow Zune cultivator and the Fire Zune cultivator appeared in front of the group of people from Tian Shu and looked at them coldly. The other Zune cultivators of Tian Shu rose up in the air. It seemed like a war was about to start. Stop fighting, said the Star Zune cultivator in the sky, he looked furious. He glanced at them and everybody calmed down. Tian Qi has always been peaceful and prosperous, don't forget your beliefs and your purpose, said the Star Zune cultivator furiously. Brother, Tian Xian keeps bullying us. They stole my bell and they truly despise us, said Tian Shuzi, now they don't want to give back my bell. I will seal the bell for a year, if Tian Shu continues to act this way, then there is no need to give it back, said the Snow Zune cultivator. Tian Shuzi remained silent but he pulled a long face and looked at the Star Zune cultivator saying, Brother, you see? Tian Xian wants a war. They want to destroy Tian Shu. What a shameless dog. Cursed the Snow Zune cultivator. Tian Shuzi was too shameless. Brother, you keep lying all the time. Tian Xian has been patient enough. Surprisingly, you're a leader and you keep acting so shamelessly. You even attacked my disciple when he was about to break through to the Tian Qi layer. You shouldn't even be a leader for Tian Shu anymore, said the Snow Zune cultivator. This time, he couldn't hold himself back anymore, Tian Shuzi had gone too far. The old star cultivator said indifferently, Tian Xian can take care of the soul bell for a year. The calm voice of the old man made many people's hearts shudder. It meant that the Star Zune cultivator was on Tian Xian's side, everybody knew that Tian Shuzi had gone too far. Back everybody, said the Star Zune cultivator. The Snow Zune cultivator and the Fire Zune cultivator smiled and moved back while still protecting Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng's soul started changing. His perceptions were particularly acute. Incredible amounts of pure qi from the sky and earth was penetrating into his body and he was bathing in incredible lights. Leaving the Xian qi layer and breaking through to the Tian qi layer was something marvelous to behold. After a short while, the terrifying pure qi became calm again, but the crowd could still sense that things were changing inside of Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng opened his eyes and smiled resplendently. He had finally broken through to the Tian qi layer. In the end, he could thank Tian Shuzi. Because he attacked him with the soul bell, it had awakened his book spirit and the power of the meteorite. The meteorite fused with his spirit and enabled him to break through to the Tian qi layer. Of course, without the Tian Xian meteorite, Lin Feng wouldn't have been able to do anything. He broke through to the Tianqi layer. The Snow Zune cultivator was smiling just as resplendently as Lin Feng, Tang Yu and Lin Feng's other friends were all smiling as well. Besides, Lin Feng was instructed with the secrets of Tianxian. He had received the Tianxian meteorite and had broken through to the Tianqi layer. Everything was happening so smoothly and Lin Feng was very happy. Lin Feng, show us your strength, show us that Tianshu's people are pieces of trash, said Huang Fu Long, who was still upset with Zi Yunqing. Zi Yunqing was instructed with the secrets of Tianshu and had received the soul bell, but he was being humiliated. In front of Lin Feng, when he still possessed the power of the Xianqi layer, he couldn't do anything. So now that he had broken through to the Tianqi layer, he was going to be even more terrifying. Great minds think alike, brother, said Lin Feng. He turned around and looked at Zi Yunqing. Lin Feng had to exact revenge. While breaking through to the Tianqi layer, Lin Feng had forgotten about everything. Now that he could think clearly again, he knew what to do. Tianshu's people despised him. Zi Yunqing had to use his strength of the second Tianqi layer again because Lin Feng was going to be merciless. Chapter 854. Super violent genius. Lin Feng took back his demon seal stone and said slowly, "Now, the incense is done burning and I was lucky that everyone was so merciful to me. On top of that, I acquired some incredible treasures in the mysterious world, which is why I survived for so long." Lin Feng's politeness surprised many people. He was saying that his opponents were playing nice with him and that he wouldn't have survived if he didn't possess such incredible treasures. He was giving face to everyone, and in that way, he was also giving all the leaders of the snowy peaks face. Tianqi was a united country and that was why Tianqi was so strong. Lin Feng had become a successor of Tianxian. As a new leader, he couldn't afford to act too aggressive or arrogant. You definitely all deserve to be leaders in the different snowy peaks. You constricted your strength to fight against me to protect me and are thus too generous. I admire your strength and feel grateful. In the future, we will have the opportunity to fight together again and learn from each other. We will become stronger together and make Tianqi even stronger, continued Lin Feng. That was enough, anymore, and people would think he was making fun of them. If the Star Zune cultivator hadn't told them to constrict their cultivation level, they wouldn't have done so, but Lin Feng was saying that they were generous. Those leaders even believed him, otherwise, how could they have lost? With a few sentences, everybody suddenly liked Lin Feng. The three Zune cultivators glanced at each other and smiled. Lin Feng remained calm and peaceful. They felt like they made the right decision. Even the Star Zune cultivator was pleasantly surprised. Yu Tianji had told him about a genius in Tianxian whose name was Lin Feng, whose abilities were incredible. The old Zune cultivator could already guess that it was him. But, however, at that moment, Lin Feng turned to Zi Yunqing. In every group of influence, there are losers. Maybe it's due to their education, but no matter, they can act shamelessly. If you had constricted your own cultivation level, then I could have learned from you. But in the end, you used your full strength and benefited from the help of your teacher. I don't see why you should have to belong to the same group as us, it's humiliating. Lin Feng's tone of speech had changed. He was accusing Tianshu's people of acting shamelessly. They had joined hands to fight him, so the relationship between the two was definitely ruined and there were no way for reconciliation. Lin Feng could not easily forgive his enemies. Zi Yunqing felt furious and humiliated. However, Lin Feng spoke the truth. Tianshu Zi had really turned Zi Yunqing into scum, a hopeless case. Since you really want to fight against me, I will fulfill your wish. Now that you don't have the soul bell, I will not use the Tianxian meteorite. You are a successor of Tianshu and I am a successor of Tianxian. Let's have a fair battle. Your cultivation level is still higher than mine, so you can keep it," said Lin Feng, challenging Zi Yunqing. Zi Yunqing's eyes were twinkling. He didn't feel like fighting Lin Feng, who had just broken through to the Tianqi layer. Zi Yunqing was convinced that he had no chance to win and he wasn't in the mood to fight a losing battle. However, he had no choice, he had no reason to refuse. If Lin Feng was right, they were both successors of their respective groups, even his cultivation level was higher than Lin Feng's, so why would he refuse? If he refused to fight Lin Feng, what would it mean? Zi Yunqing opened his mouth but didn't say anything. Lin Feng didn't intend to give him any opportunity to refuse anyways as he said coldly, "Let's start. Show me what a shameless successor like you can do. Show me your real strength." Lin Feng then jumped forwards and threw himself at Zi Yunqing while releasing a terrifying qi. Since Zi Yunqing couldn't avoid the battle anymore, he released his terrifying battle energy. He released oppressive energies as Lin Feng took out a gigantic stone which contained sealing energies. The word seal was carved into that stone and it contained an incredible strength. He was constricting the oppressive energies with the stone. "The demon seal stone, how shameless," shouted Tian Shuzi furiously when he saw the stone. "Shut the hell up. He's just doing the same as you. Lin Feng is extremely far from being as shameless as you guys," said the Fire Zune cultivator mockingly. Lin Feng hated Tian Shuzi. Zi Yunqing sensed the strength and his face turned deathly pale. The demon seal stone could oppress the soul bell, so it was an incredible treasure. Lin Feng was in the sky and could sense everything clearly now. He had just bullied Lin Feng with his soul bell and now the situation was reversed. "Go," said Lin Feng while releasing pure qi into the stone. The word seal then started shining, it was dazzling to the eyes. Rumbling sounds were heard as the stone became gigantic and shot straight towards Zi Yunqing. He couldn't even see the sky anymore. Boom boom boom, the stone fell down from the sky and oppressed Zi Yunqing's body. The crowd couldn't see him anymore as the power of the stone was too great. Lin Feng was smiling coldly. Zi Yunqing's strength was at the top of the second Tian Qi layer, he was extremely strong so he should be able to resist. Lin Feng used his agility technique and quickly landed on the stone. Lin Feng punched the stone violently like a hammer. He had broken through to the Tian Qi layer so his punches could make the entire area shaket. The stone ended up deeper in the ground. Zi Yunqing emitted a horrible shriek. He had sensed Lin Feng's punch through the stone and the pain was unbearable. What perseverance! Lin Feng was surprised but was still smiling coldly. He jumped up in the air again and kicked the stone again. A terrifying strength spread in the stone again. Zi Yunqing gave a horrible shriek again as the ground shook. How tragic, thought the crowd. If Zi Yunqing was buried in the ground, it meant that he had used all his strength already and couldn't put up any more of a fight. He might even die. Lin Feng smiled as he pulled back his seal stone and guarded the hole which Zi Yunqing was in. He wanted to kill. Lin Feng released a terrifying and dazzling fire which burned the ground and then started to punch the ground as well. Ah! A horrible shriek came from under the ground as a silhouette rose up in the air. It was a black burnt silhouette without any hair. "You dared come out again," said Lin Feng smiling. In a flash, he landed in front of Zi Yunqing and punched him with a fist containing a terrifying physical strength. Cracking sounds were heard as Zi Yunqing's bones were breaking. After receiving the blow, his body was blown away in Tian Shuzi's direction. Chapter 855, A New Life. Tian Shuzi rolled up his sleeves and caught Zi Yunqing's body. He checked Zi Yunqing's injuries and found that all of his bones were broken. It would be very difficult to recover, he might not ever be as strong as he was again. Lin Feng had ruined Zi Yunqing's future. He's a successor of Tian Shu and possesses the same social status as you, yet you dared act so cruelly. Very good. Okay, great, said Tian Shuzi while handing Zi Yunqing over to some people behind him. He was glaring at Lin Feng with a most concentrated coldness. You really are shameless. You attacked me while I was breaking through to the Tian Qi layer and you still talk about ideals? We know about your sly and cruel methods already, said Lin Feng mockingly. He then glanced at Zi Yunqing, whose cultivation had been crippled, and said, "You're too weak to be a successor of Tian Shu, you couldn't even withstand a single attack. On top of that, you're a coward. Tian Shu's people can thank me for crippling his cultivation, at least if he comes out now, you won't lose face anymore." "Humiliate Tian Qi?" asked Tian Shuzi as he looked up at the Star Zun cultivator and continued, "Brother, Tian Xian's people are insane. They bully others and now they even crippled my successor's cultivation. They took our Tian Shu soul bell and I don't even feel like staying here anymore, so I'm leaving." Tian Shuzi finished talking, took Tian Shu with him and left. The old star cultivator remained silent, cool-headed and detached. Many people were looking at Lin Feng with astonishment. Tian Qi was witnessing the rise of a monstrous genius. After a while, he would probably become stronger than the other Tian Qi successors as well. Besides, Lin Feng had already become the successor of Tian Xian. If he became stronger than the other successors, he could even become the leader of Tian Qi. Besides, something else had surprised the crowd. The Snow Zun cultivator was hiding his strength until now. He could even seal the soul bell. Tian Shuzi was feeling bad, he had understood that Tian Xian would rise now. Tian Shu's people were humiliated though, would they give up so easily? "Tian Qi's people, don't forget our purpose and our beliefs," said the old Star Zun cultivator slowly while glancing at the crowd. He sounded solemn and serious. Immediately after, he raised his hand and condensed some energy, his hand was as sharp as a blade as he cut some of his hair off. His white hair floated in the wind and everybody followed it with their eyes. "Nothing like that has ever happened in Tian Qi. I cut my hair to tell you that it is my fault, I should have prevented this," said the old man slowly. He wanted to bear the responsibility for what had happened. "I hope that nothing like this will ever happen again. From today on, Lin Feng is a leader and successor in Tian Qi, no matter what, you can't offend him. Instead, you should support him. If outsiders attack him, you must help him. If you act selfishly and let pollution invade your heart, please tell me what your purpose is and I will help guide you through it," shouted the Star Zun cultivator so that everybody could hear. He then put his hand on his heart in a solemn way. Everybody did the same as him and put their hands on their heart as well. "Everything for the empire." Their voices resonated in unison and made their hearts shook harmoniously. Many people felt bewitched in a positive way. No matter what, they had to support Lin Feng and prevent him from losing his treasures. They would make Tian Qi glorious and powerful. "Okay, now everybody can disperse," said the star cultivator while waving. He then jumped into the star again and disappeared. Everybody slowly dispersed and left the Tian Xian snowy peak. The Snow Zun cultivator looked at Lin Feng and said, "Lin Feng, what happened today made Tian Shuzi furious. He will never forgive you. Although it's a disservice for Tian Qi to have such people among us, he will never let you off. You must be careful from now on." "I understand," said Lin Feng nodding. Though, he still thought Tian Shuzi was a loser. "Why didn't our brothers punish Tian Shuzi? It stinks so much here," said Jian Feng Zi. He was furious. "We should have attacked him, but I think that our star brother only has good reasons, so we resisted," said the Snow Zun cultivator. Lin Feng was already very satisfied. He felt proud, 3 Zun cultivators were protecting him now. Without them, the situation would have ended differently. "Lin Feng, you're doing a great job. I really wanted to crush them," said Huang Fulong while Lin Feng was walking towards him and the others. Huang Fulong wanted to slaughter Zi Yunqing. "He would have crushed you if you tried," said Yun Fei Yang laughing. Huang Fulong just scratched his head looking silly. "Lin Feng, I thought that you weren't as strong as me, it seems like I was wrong," said Huang Fulong while giggling in a silly way. Everybody was speechless, was he just realizing that? "Alright, you all obtained some great treasures in the mysterious world, and before Lin Feng came back, you all had no time to practice. Now that Lin Feng's back, you should all practice for a while as well. You should all try to break through to the Tianqi layer as well, said the Snow Zune cultivator while looking at those talented young people in a warm and gentle way. Lin Feng brought his friends along with him to Tianqi. They would all be a great benefit to Tianqi. Besides, this time they had all obtained incredible treasures and they had all broken through to the 8th or 9th Xianqi layer. With proper teachings, they would break through to the Tianqi layer. He, I understand. Lin Feng broke through to the Tianqi layer. I'm almost as strong as him, so I shouldn't waste time and should catch up quickly, said Huang Fulong smiling. The others smiled back. That guy was so funny. But joking aside, it was true that they all needed to practice. And you, Lin Feng, you broke through to the Tianqi layer, so you need to get used to it and stabilize your cultivation level. Now, you must try to understand the universe. It's a completely different dimension from the Xianqi layer, said the Snow Zune cultivator to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded. The Tianqi layer was related to the earth and the sky. Now that he could use their power, he needed to understand its mechanisms and potential. After cultivating for a while, it would be time for him to go back to Shuezhou and to the Black Wind Mountain. He had already broken through to the Tianqi layer, and the middle-aged woman told him he would be able to get Meng Qing back if he managed to do so. The Snow Zune cultivator prepared some special places in the mountains for Jun Mo Shi and the others to practice cultivation. Not far from Tianxian, there was a nice place to practice in peace. At the same time, Jian Fengzi and the Fire Zune cultivator stayed there. Lin Feng would practice in a special place at the top of another snowy mountain where nobody would disturb him. At the top of that snowy mountain, the 7 snow eagles came and transformed into people. They landed behind the Snow Zune cultivator and said, Master. From today on, you are not in charge of the affairs of Tianxian. Instead, you are Lin Feng's protectors. Protect him until he becomes stronger than you, said the Snow Zune cultivator slowly. The 7 eagles nodded and said, We understand. The Snow Zune cultivator turned his head towards the eagles and smiled. When Lin Feng is here, you can stay in Tianxian, and there is no need to follow me. If he goes somewhere else, you can follow him and you will benefit from great treasures because of him. After that, the Snow Zune cultivator left and the 7 eagles as well. They all flew in different directions, protecting the 7 snowy peaks of Tianqi, keeping the peace and tranquility of the empire. Chapter 856. The Snow Zune cultivator. There was a glacier on a mountain in Tianqi and there was somebody practicing cultivation in, borrowing the strength of the stars. At the top of that glacier were 2 old people. They weren't releasing qi and they looked like ordinary people. However, that freezing atmosphere couldn't influence them at all. Yu Tianji has incredible natural abilities, he is a good guy and possesses great principles. In the future, he will surely replace you, said one of the old men while looking at the younger cultivator in the glacier. I think so too. Initially, I used to think that he would become the leader of Tianqi, but now there is another genius. I admire you for having such good eyes and for immediately handing Tianxian over to him. This also means you're willing to leave, said the other old man who was almost bald. It was the dignified leader of Tianqi, the old star man. On his side, there was the leader of Tianxian, the Snow Zune cultivator, willing to leave. Not yet, but even with me nothing incredible will happen in Tianxian anymore. And letting Lin Feng reign over Tianxian alone now is not the right time, I have to wait until he becomes stronger. Then, I'll be able to enjoy a break without worrying about Tianxian, said the Snow Zune cultivator. He was smiling just thinking about it. Don't pretend to be someone else in front of me. If anyone can defeat me in Tianqi, it must be you. The Tianxian meteorite is incredible, probably the most precious item in all of Tianqi, but it's the most mysterious one as well. You've been practicing cultivation for a long time, but it seems like you haven't made any progress for so many years. Do you think I believe that? We're old men, tell me your real cultivation level, said the old star cultivator. Back then, when they had become leaders, they used to be the two strongest cultivators of Tianqi. They respected each other and considered one another as the best cultivators of Tianqi. Of course, they were also best friends. Therefore, the Star Man wanted to understand the Snow Zune cultivator, but he was so mysterious. It's not important anymore, I just want to see our young disciples become stronger and reign over Tianqi. Our future is limited and I don't think we can become stronger anymore, said the Snow Zune cultivator, sounding a bit melancholic. He knew that sooner or later Lin Feng would replace him. They all wanted to become stronger and reach the cultivation level of Emperor. However, talent was a mysterious thing. After having broken through a specific cultivation layer, some cultivators felt like they hit a brick wall. The old Star Man raised his head and looked at the sky. I know that you haven't given up. Like our masters, you also want to find somebody to pass on our traditions, principles and beliefs. When you are free from these concerns, you will untie those chains which prevent you from progressing to that cultivation level which you and I have always dreamt of. The Snow Zune cultivator smiled in a resplendent way. Don't you think the same way as me? After our masters passed on all those responsibilities to us, they left and never contacted us again. I don't know where they are or what they are doing now. I wonder if they are still practicing to become stronger. If you don't abandon everything, you'll always be worried and then it'll be too difficult to practice cultivation. Wait until they are mature and strong enough, we will do the same, said the old Star Man, sounding nostalgic. They felt sad about what their masters did, but they could understand, for they would have to do the same someday. Shouldn't we clean Tianqi a little before? Asked the Snow Zune cultivator. Tian Shuzi's behavior had exasperated him and it would be difficult to forgive him. They do not feel safe and instead feel like they're in danger. Isn't it better to leave them sweating? We can give them a chance to cling obstinately to their course. They are acting willfully, let's see what the future will look like for them, said the old Star Man, as if he could already see the whole situation. Ordinary disciples couldn't see as far as those old and wise men. After half a month in a mountain, Lin Feng was still sitting cross-legged near a precipice. His eyes were closed and he was calmly inspecting his new powers of the Tianqi layer. At that moment, Lin Feng was condensing his godly awareness into ancient bells. His myriad of broken souls were now surrounded by dazzling golden lights. Lin Feng's godly awareness was now thicker and more powerful. His ancient bells were also more solid, not looking like illusions anymore. The godly awareness skill was incredibly precious, especially because he could use them to attack and protect himself at the same time. Ordinary cultivators of the Tianqi layer could barely learn that skill. A powerful soul was required as well. Lin Feng was different, his soul was so much more powerful than ordinary cultivators. When his awareness stopped improving, Lin Feng stopped practicing. His awareness could turn into an ancient bell that could leave his brain. People who watched Lin Feng break through to the Tianqi layer would be flabbergasted seeing him now. They would be speechless. Lin Feng's natural abilities were too incredible. Lin Feng took out the Tianxian meteorite again and held it firmly. His book spirit appeared and 7 rays of light illuminated it. The new page was still empty. However, Lin Feng was attracting energies to strengthen the blank page. Lin Feng felt nostalgic when he saw that landscape again. He could see his entire surroundings. He could see the mountains and vitality floating through the earth and sky. Everything was perfectly distinct and it was constantly enlightening. Lin Feng raised his hands up and flew into the air, fusing together with the earth and sky. Boom, boom, boom. Lin Feng punched the air and explosions sounded. The air in front of Lin Feng was shaking violently and unceasingly. Then, Lin Feng's attack disappeared, but the thick qi remained. How scary! Lin Feng looked at his hands and was surprised by the strength. The Tianxian meteorite provided him such explosive power. Besides, Lin Feng was convinced that he hadn't understood all the mysteries of the stone yet. It was probably even more incredible. Lin Feng didn't spend too much time trying to understand it though. Even though he had broken through to the Tianqi layer, it was just the beginning. He still had a lot to do. He had to keep fighting and striving for higher cultivation levels, and one day, he would become a Zune cultivator. Maybe then, he would consider himself as a truly strong cultivator. Of course, even with Lin Feng's low cultivation level, an ordinary country such as Shui would consider Lin Feng as a warlord. Chapter 857, Incredible Spirit. The page turned, and the power of the meteorite can strengthen me through my spirit. Can other things affect it as well? Lin Feng seemed to realize something. As he thought about it, he sat down cross-legged and put the meteorite away. He pulled out the demon seal stone and set it in front of him. My spirit can absorb the explosive power of the meteorite. Can it do the same with the demon seal stone? Lin Feng put his hand on the demon seal stone and shook it, trying to absorb its energies. He examined his book spirit in his head. Lights started twinkling on the empty page. There was a strange strength which slowly penetrated his spirit. As I thought, it's possible. Lin Feng was now extremely happy. That also meant that the new page could absorb all sorts of strengths and energies from precious treasures. What a terrifying power! A gigantic word, seal, appeared in the dark emptiness. It was twinkling as it was slowly carved with great energies flowing through it. It contained a terrifying oppressive power capable of sealing demons' energies. The word looked very distinct as it appeared in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng could sense the power of the word, and he was trying to better understand it. If he used that power, he wouldn't need to use the demon seal stone anymore. Lin Feng calmly inspected and studied his spirit for a long time and then opened his eyes. He shook his hand in a random direction and a terrifying sealing strength emerged. Lin Feng smiled resplendently. As expected, his spirit had recorded how the stone worked and enabled Lin Feng to use that power without the stone. That book had, once again, pleasantly surprised Lin Feng. How mysterious! Lin Feng never knew what the book had offered to him, but each time it was incredible. Can I put the strength and energies of the Jade Emperor's palace in the book as well, thought Lin Feng. He immediately tried, but this time, nothing happened. Lin Feng looked at the heart. There were many strong cultivators inside, but there were also many incredible treasures. Back when he was in the palace, he had seen many closed doors. Incredible treasures were certainly behind them, but he couldn't open them. What annoyed Lin Feng the most was that there were strong cultivators inside the palace, so he couldn't go inside. Many of them were a lot stronger than him. But Lin Feng wasn't in a rush. Those people were his cattle. He just had to wait until he was strong enough, and then he could deal with them. If I could learn a skill to control other people's bodies using my godly awareness, that would be incredible. I would be able to make them my slaves, so there wouldn't be a need to kill them, thought Lin Feng. There were strong cultivators inside the palace, and killing them would be a waste. Lin Feng then threw the heart on the ground and it started shaking unceasingly. The people in the palace were shouting furiously because Lin Feng was making everything shake again. Lin Feng! I will definitely kill you, Lin Feng! Those people were all shouting furiously. They were prisoners that couldn't escape. Even as they found treasures, they couldn't use them unless they escaped the palace. However, Lin Feng, that bastard, wasn't giving them any chance to do so. They couldn't even practice cultivation peacefully because each time Lin Feng threw the heart, it made the whole palace shake and it was disturbing them in their practice. This way, they would all stay weaker. However, they had no solution. 7 days passed and some people gathered to enjoy some tea and food at the top of a snowy mountain. There were 4 people with unfathomable and mysterious chi. Those 4 were the leaders of the snowy peaks. Brothers, Tian Xian is starting to recruit more disciples in Tian Qi. They are becoming stronger and insufferably arrogant, especially Lin Feng. You saw it, right after breaking through to the Tian Qi layer, he not only acted with arrogance but also violence. In front of me, he even dared to cripple Zi Yunqing's cultivation. I'm sure he will continue to act in an even more insane way in the future if he becomes stronger. Tian Shuzi was attempting to convince the 3 others leaders. Every day they would gather and drink tea together. enjoying some food while chatting. They liked to rest and talk about cultivation. Sometimes, they would talk about their disciples. This time, they had been invited by Tian Shuzi to come over and talk about Lin Feng. Let's not talk about him anymore, let's play some chess. The three others smiled and ignored Tian Shuzi's words. They didn't feel like getting involved, they didn't want tensions to escalate. Someone was approaching in the distance, slowly. That person then stopped in front of the leader of Yaoguang and shouted, "Master." "What's going on?" asked the leader of Yaoguang. That person remained silent and talked to the Yaoguang leader via their consciousness. After the mental conversation, the leader stood up and smiled, "Brothers, sorry but I have to go. I will be back later." Then, he left with the person who just came. It seemed like something strange was happening. The other leaders were also called by some people and left saying that they would be back soon. Tian Shuzi was the only one left, and he was feeling annoyed but he had to remain patient. The leader of Yaoguang went back to Yaoguang and approached one of the snow eagles. "Why did you come here?" asked the leader of Yaoguang. "Sir, my master asked me to bring you something," said the snow eagle while handing over a ring to the leader of Yaoguang. The leader of Yaoguang was surprised and curious. He put his consciousness inside the ring and was pleasantly surprised. He looked back at the snow eagle's sharp lights in his eyes. "Sir, my master sent me. He told me that if we were all strong, then the entire empire would become stronger," said the snow eagle. The leader thought about it and then became gentle, even warm. "Please tell him how grateful I am, I appreciate his gesture and I accept it too. I can understand what he means, Tian Qi is becoming stronger each day it seems," said the leader of Yaoguang while smiling. "All right, I will tell him," said the snow eagle while bowing before leaving. When the snow eagle left, the Yaoguang leader remained standing there with his eyes twinkling. Tian Xian had a new genius, not only was he strong, he also cared about the future. The same thing happened on the other peaks, except Tian Shu. Chapter 858, Going around. Tian Shuzi waited for a long time but nobody came back. His mood was extremely poor. Were those people making fun of him? After a while, he lost his patience and stood up. Then he left Tian Shu and went to Yaoguang. On the way, he came across a snow eagle, that surprised him. "Brother, why did you come?" said the leader of Yaoguang politely, smiling at Tian Shu. "Brother, as I didn't see you come back, I just came to check if everything was all right." "Indeed, there have been some things I needed to manage. I only went to Tian Shu to drink tea and play chess." "I hope that you are not too disappointed," said the leader of Yaoguang, still smiling. "Okay, well, I won't force you. I just want to know what is going on," asked Tian Shuzi. "What's going on?" Tian Shuzi wasn't saying everything he was thinking, he didn't want to show how he was annoyed. He then added, "Tian Xian is dangerously ambitious. Lin Feng is not a righteous person. Brother, stop saying such things. Even though there are tensions between Tian Xian and Tian Shu, nobody cares about it anymore. We only want to make Tian Qi a better place and a more powerful empire. Besides, Lin Feng is a righteous person and has undeniable natural abilities, he's truly a rare genius. He will definitely make Tian Xian stronger and Tian Qi stronger. How is this a bad thing?" said the leader of Yaoguang. Tian Shuzi remained silent. Then he groaned and said, "Since you think that way, I'm leaving." Then, Tian Shuzi turned around and rose up in the air. "Brother, take care," said the leader of Yaoguang politely. Then Tian Shuzi left to Yuheng. "Brother Yuheng," said Tian Shuzi politely. He then talked about the same topic again. The leader of Yuheng remained silent and said, unwilling to talk, "Brother, you are bringing this up too much, just forget about it. If you talk about Tian Xian again, it will mean that you have forgotten about our principles and goals. We all want Tian Qi to become stronger, not for us to fight against each other." I see that Tian Xian is progressing quickly because they have found the genius, Lin Feng. He is a talented successor and will only benefit Tian Xian. I hope that you can understand this and share their happiness. Remember to think about Tian Qi. Tian Shuzi pulled a long face, he then turned around and said, goodbye. He disappeared in the distance and went to Tian Quan. He didn't see the leader though, but one of the disciples told him that the leader was practicing cultivation and had no time to see him. Tian Shuzi was surprised. What was happening? Why were the snow eagles traveling around Tian Qi? Had the other leaders left Tian Shu because of the eagles? Tian Shuzi didn't understand why he was left alone. Yao Guang, Yu Heng, Tian Quan, all those leaders were good friends with Tian Shuzi, but now they were defending Lin Feng. Back in Tian Xian, Lin Feng was at the top of the main peak. He was observing the snow and in a white robe. Some silhouettes landed behind him, the snow eagles had all come back. They remained silently standing behind Lin Feng. Are you done? Asked Lin Feng, turning around. Master, we're done and they're all satisfied, said the snow eagles. Lin Feng nodded. No matter whether it was in his previous life or in this life, contacts were important. Lin Feng didn't know the other leaders well, but because they belonged to the same group, they had harmonious relations. This time, Lin Feng offered them intent and abstruse crystals, hoping that they would all become strong so Tian Qi could become stronger. He wasn't acting selfishly, he was solely acting for Tian Qi. Nobody could refuse such good intentions because they all belonged to Tian Qi. At the same time, they also gained more esteem for Lin Feng. It was rare for a cultivator to share his precious treasures with other cultivators. Many were jealous to see other cultivators becoming stronger. Abstruse crystals were extremely rare and contained abstruse significance energies. For Tian-level cultivators, those were even more incredible treasures. Back then in Tian Xian, who was it that thought of stealing Lin Feng's treasures? Lin Feng was young, but apart from Tian Shuzi, nobody dared to violate the rules of Tian Qi now. Lin Feng was offering them presents as if he had forgotten what happened the other day. Let's go. Lin Feng jumped up in the air and started flying. Lin Feng was feeling great, he had broken through to the Tian Qi layer and didn't need pure Qi to fly anymore. He could borrow the strength of the earth and the sky instead. That feeling was incredible. Lin Feng arrived on the mountain where Jun Mo Shi and the others were practicing. The 3 Zun cultivators were there as well. They glanced at each other when they saw Lin Feng approaching. They could see that Lin Feng's Qi was powerful, that he was in symbiosis with the earth and sky. They couldn't help but nod with admiration. In such a short time, Lin Feng had already made great progress. Teachers, how are their cultivation levels now? Asked Lin Feng to his teachers. The 3 teachers looked surprised and then smiled. Lin Feng was concerned about his friends. Lin Feng became a young leader in Tian Xian, and in the future, he would become a real leader. Therefore, they didn't want to be called master or anything like that, they wanted to be called teachers at most. Very good. Jun Mo Shi can start breaking through to the Tian Qi layer. Huang Fulong and Tang Yu have already reached the very top of the 9th Xian Qi layer. In a short time, they'll also be able to start trying to break through to the Tian Qi layer, especially Huang Fulong. Even though he's a bit strange, his natural abilities are rare and he has a pure heart. He practices mindful meditation and might break through to the Tian Qi layer before Jun Mo Shi. Tang Yu must make more efforts to progress. And Yunfei Yang is still at the beginning or maybe the middle of the 9th Xian Qi layer, however, his cultivation basics are so solid that he is constantly making progress. Slowly but surely, his cultivation basics are even more solid than Jun Mo Shi's. After reaching the top of the Xian Qi layer, it will be extremely easy for him to break through to the Tian Qi layer, said the Snow Zun cultivator, explaining the situation to Lin Feng. Lin Feng understood everything. Jun Mo Shi was a go steady and strike hard kind of cultivator with his Qi of righteousness. He also had an indestructible spirit, a crazy strength and solid natural abilities. Huang Fulong, however, had mental problems. He was simple-minded but his heart was pure, he could solely focus on his cultivation. Yu Yu was also talented but in her heart, she was a woman before a cultivator, sometimes. Concerning Yunfei Yang, back then the Prince of Mo Yu was already famous in Shuiyu. After he displayed his incredible talent, he could understand the force of the earth and sky already. He might be slower than everyone else but his cultivation was still the most solid. Teachers, I want to leave the region for a while. I want to go back to Shuiyu to check on things, said Lin Feng suddenly. The Snow Zune cultivator remained silent for a few seconds before replying, Shuiyu is extremely far from our region. You have to be very careful. Now anything could happen, powerful groups of influence are all interested in you. I understand, said Lin Feng. After what happened in the Death Valley, Lin Feng had miraculously made it back to Tianqi alive. By now the news had probably spread. Some other powerful groups of influence wouldn't abandon him, namely the East Sea Dragon Palace. However, even if Lin Feng was alone in Tianqi, nobody would dare cause trouble unless every single cultivator of the group came there. But the results would be tragic and the East Sea Dragon Palace wouldn't do that. Chapter 859, Back to Shuiyu. Lin Feng left some things behind for Tianxian and then left, crossing the Snowy Empire. Lin Feng had broken through to the first Tianqi layer so he had to make it back to Shuiyu. The previous time, he had turned into a demon and left Shuiyu. His parents were probably very worried. Bzzz, bzzz, the snow eagles were following Lin Feng, they passed in front of him and turned into humans. Master, said the snow eagles. We're coming with you. Lin Feng remained silent for a few seconds and then nodded, all right, just be discreet. The snow eagles nodded and they rose up in the air flying through the clouds. Lin Feng put on his mask again and turned into another person, that yellowish, sick person. His qi became very weak and nobody could recognize him. Even while crossing Tianqi, he had to be careful. Many people were looking for him. Without the mask, it would be difficult to travel. In fact, Lin Feng had anticipated all of this when he left the region of the snowy peaks and arrived in the Tianqi countryside, he could sense how many people were looking at him. Besides, those people were from all sorts of powerful groups. Even his teachers had warned him. If Lin Feng hadn't put on his mask, he would have died right after leaving Tianqi, but Lin Feng wasn't worried or nervous because he looked like an ordinary disciple of Tianqi. He didn't even fly in the air to avoid drawing people's attention. In the capital city, Lin Feng bought a snow-cold horse and galloped through the town. Against all expectations, nothing slowed him down as he galloped on the huge road at full speed. A few silhouettes flickered in the air. They were extremely fast, especially their leader. He was in fusion with the earth and sky. It was seemingly a cultivator of the Tianqi layer. Stop, shouted one of them furiously. Lin Feng stopped immediately on his horse. Lin Feng appeared weak and fragile as he looked up at the three people and said, "How may I help you, gentlemen?" Lin Feng analyzed their cultivation levels discreetly. One of them had broken through to the second Tianqi layer and the two others were at the top of the Xianqi layer. You probably come from Tianqi, said the leader, coldly while glancing at Lin Feng. Indeed, said Lin Feng while nodding. Lin Feng released his awareness and checked the neighboring regions to see if there were others there. There was nobody in the region, only these three. Is Lin Feng in Tianqi? Asked the leader coldly. He isn't, said Lin Feng while shaking his head. Where is he then? Asked the leader coldly. Lin Feng took a small step forwards, this made the leader look at him in an even colder way. He was getting closer as he shouted, "Speak." Lin Feng is. He's here. When Lin Feng finished talking, he immediately jumped. He had already prepared his bronze bells before that, and in a flash he attacked his opponent's soul. Die. Lin Feng had changed back so suddenly. His bronze bells penetrated his opponent's head, golden lights were seen as he killed his opponent in that second. His awareness moved back to his body and then he slowly fell back down. The other two were not ready for that, they were shaking with fear. That's Lin Feng. Lin Feng could use his awareness to attack people and kill a cultivator of the second Tian Qi layer with ease, how astonishing. Where are you from? Asked Lin Feng. The two ignored Lin Feng and started running. What did they think? That Lin Feng was going to let them off. Die. Lin Feng jumped towards them using his Xiaoyao agility technique and released some fire. One of them burnt and vanished into ashes. Then, Lin Feng grabbed the other one by the throat and stretched out his hand so that the opponent couldn't resist anymore. Cultivators of the Xian Qi layer were nobodies, tiny insects before him. Speak, said Lin Feng while glaring at his opponent. It seemed like a sword was piercing through that person's soul. He looked weak and terrified. Jade Heaven, said the opponent. Then Lin Feng released his fire and killed him. Jade Heaven Empire. You're quite impatient, aren't you? Thought Lin Feng. People from Jade Heaven were the Jade Emperor's offspring, they were supposed to be his successors. Unfortunately, the Demon Emperor appeared and the situation changed. Those who wanted to capture Lin Feng the most were the people from Jade Heaven and from the East Sea Dragon Palace. Lin Feng turned around and burnt the Tian-level cultivator's body, then he left. He had already left the empire now so he had to hurry. Yangzhou City had become resplendent and magnificent. It had also become the new capital city of Xueyu. There were many people walking around inside the city. It had become a lively and populated city. It wasn't like the past when Xian-level cultivators were rarely found there. In Xueyu, many people were still talking about the Great War, especially in Yangzhou City, Lin Feng's hometown. Before the war, Xueyu's people didn't even think about cultivators of the Tian Qi layer. In the vast country of Xueyu, people knew that Duan Renhuang had broken through to the Tian Qi layer. They had later learnt that another cultivator, who back then used to be one of the 4 greatest cultivators of Xueyu, Lin Hai. He had also broken through to the Tian Qi layer and astonished everybody. Duan Wuye and Duan Wudao had also brought some Tian-level cultivators to Xueyu and attempted to kill everyone during Lin Feng's wedding. Then, Lin Feng's woman turned into a celestial animal, Xue Linglong. What a crazy time that was. Unfortunately, when she turned into an animal, she was unable to stop those strong cultivators. Then, because of his love for Meng Qing, Lin Feng turned into a demon and killed Duan Renhuang and the king of Xueyu. The other Tian-level cultivators left with Lin Feng when he had turned into a demon. Since then, Lin Feng had made great progress and became a true killer. It was as if he had completely changed. The people from Xueyu couldn't help but be moved and amazed by Lin Feng's story and romanticism. He turned into a demon for his loved one. Not far from the gate of Yangzhou, outside was a silhouette flying through the air. It was a handsome man who had done a lot for Xueyu. But at that moment, he had changed and looked more mature, his eyes seemed to have gained maturity. Xueyu was extremely far from Tian Qi so he no longer needed his mask. He looked at his hometown with tender feelings. Yangzhou looked so much better than in the past. There were skyscrapers now, but for Lin Feng, it was the same. Yangzhou, I'm back, whispered Lin Feng while heading towards the town. Chapter 860, King Lin Feng, Stop. When Lin Feng passed above the gate, a silhouette rose up in the air and prevented him from going ahead. This is the Imperial City, it's forbidden to fly and enter, said the Qi Xie guard. It was a cultivator of the second Xian Qi layer. He had probably joined the Qi Xie forces later on. Otherwise, he would recognize Lin Feng. The guard was feeling very nervous. Even though the young man he was facing was the same age as him, he wasn't using pure qi to travel by air. He was simply standing in the emptiness and the guard could sense that. The guard was looking deep in Lin Feng's eyes and could see that he was extremely strong. Was he going to kill him? But he was a member of the Qi forces and had sworn an oath to protect the country even if he had to lose his life, all of this for the splendor of the nation. Yangzhou was the new capital city of Shuaiyu and the hometown of the monarch. Nobody was allowed to enter the city from the sky. Lin Feng was, of course, not going to blame him. He smiled but looked firm and said, "You cannot rival me, just move aside. Or I could kill you in a second." While saying that, Lin Feng condensed some pure qi in his hand and oppressed the entire area. As the young man had thought, Lin Feng was extremely strong. Yangzhou City is the capital city of the country and King Lin Feng's hometown. Nobody can enter from the sky. "If you want to go inside, you will have to kill me first," said the guard, looking more and more worried. He sounded like he had faith, though. He believed in Lin Feng. Lin Feng had become a god in Yangzhou City. The guard had heard many stories about Lin Feng. He was famous in Yangzhou back when he was 16 years old. King Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't think that his parents would make him a king. After Lin Feng turned into a demon and left, he might have died. "Why would he be qualified to be called a king?" whispered Lin Feng. However, the guard looked at him coldly. That person was humiliating his religion, his monarch. "Even if you're strong, I will attack you for what you just said," threatened the guard. He jumped forwards and threw his spear at Lin Feng while condensing some pure qi. Lin Feng slightly smiled and stretched out his hand and grabbed the spear. The guard kept fighting unceasingly with his full strength. He looked surprised. The guard was glaring at Lin Feng, his strength was too incredible. Lin Feng shook his hand and the guard's spear fell down. The guard dropped down and grabbed the spear, looking at Lin Feng ferociously. He felt humiliated. He was a member of the Qi forces and was losing. "I will teach you how to use your spear," said Lin Feng, still smiling. He then made it fall down again and moved towards the guard. A terrifying light appeared with the speed of lightning. Bzzzzzzz, a buzzing sound spread in the air as the spear was filled with force. It hadn't reached the guard yet, but the atmosphere was already extremely oppressive. The guard already felt day. In front of that spear, he had no chance to survive, so he just closed his eyes. After that, the forces disappeared. The guard opened his eyes and saw that the spear had stopped. Kacha! The guard's helmet broke and he was covered with ice-cold sweat. He had never seen such a terrifying spear. "Did you see and understand that?" asked Lin Feng. The guard nodded and then shook his head. He understood yet didn't. Of course he had seen that spear, but on the other hand he hadn't seen it that clearly. "What kind of spear skill is that?" asked the guard. "It's not a spear skill. I don't understand spears and have never studied them," said Lin Feng while shaking his head. "You have never studied spears, but you..." The guard didn't believe Lin Feng. "A spear skill is fixed, it only gives you a way of doing things. If you don't understand spears, then you can't use a skill. Once you understand spears, you can use skills in an extraordinary way. Even if you don't use skills, you can actually carry out powerful attacks if you borrow the force of the earth and sky," explained Lin Feng. The guard still didn't understand. His cultivation level was too low to be compared with Lin Feng's. However, what Lin Feng had just told him was still useful. He would be able to adapt his future practice in accordance. "Qi Yun," said some people, joining him in the air. They were looking at Lin Feng in a not-so-friendly way. "Qi Yun," the guard suddenly regained his senses and asked Lin Feng, "Wait, why did you teach me things about spears? And on top of that, you humiliated King Lin Feng." The others were astonished while looking at Lin Feng. Surprisingly, that guy had humiliated King Lin Feng. Lin Feng was the king of Shuaiyu and his people admired him. For the Qi forces, it was even more than that. He was their god, their religion. He was the core of all the legends the Qi forces told each other. Stubborn guy. Lin Feng shook his head and smiled. That guy reminded him of him back then. "What's going on?" someone else said in the distance. Several people wearing Qi armors appeared in the distance. The guy turned around and said, "Officer, someone insulted King Lin Feng." Boom, when that person heard the guard, they condensed their pure chi to kill the offender. People in front of him opened the way as he then saw the one who humiliated King Lin Feng. He looked just as handsome as before, just older. His eyes looked deep and profound, his chi was unfathomable. He even had some silver hair. The officer was astonished. He was recalling all that had happened in the past. Lin Feng had brought the Qi Xie forces to Duanren City. He had set the city on fire and had killed many people from Mou, hundreds of thousands in fact. Lin Feng had brought them to Imperial City as well and saved General Liu. Lin Feng had protected General Liu and killed the Imperial guards. He had then gone back to the Imperial City and turned into a demon. The officer could remember everything like a video. The former officers weren't there anymore, only General Lei remained, but he was getting drunk every day, all day. Therefore, that officer who used to be a sergeant had been promoted to the rank of officer. Time passed quickly, things hadn't changed much but people came and went. Lin Feng had come back and he was alive. Qi Yun looked at his officer and was surprised. The officer almost had tears in his eyes, he even started crying. They all looked at him seriously. He looked like a kid now. They hadn't gone through such incredible things together, real nightmares, great wars. They couldn't understand what their officer was thinking. The officer fell down on his knees and cried loudly, "General! General!" Qi Yun and the others were all astonished. General, their officer was calling that man general. He was so young, and in Shuiyu, there was only one general, the king of Shuiyu, Lin Feng. Chapter 861, General's Tomb. This young man who was disrespecting their leader was surprisingly Lin Feng. Qi Yun didn't know what to say so he just stared at him. The one who had taught him about spears was Lin Feng, the young man he admired most, his god. "Stand up," said Lin Feng to the officer. Lin Feng then gave a friendly tap to the officer. He could see memories and nostalgia in the officer's eyes. "General, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry," said the officer while lowering his head. He looked extremely sad. "No need to be like that," said Lin Feng while shaking his head. But, the officer still wanted to say something but Lin Feng interrupted him, "Continue what you were doing. No need to change your routine because of me." Then Lin Feng disappeared with the blink of an eye. The officer watched as Lin Feng disappeared in the horizon. His eyes were twinkling. "Our general has gone through such terrifying hardships, his cultivation level must be unfathomable now," but, the officer looked even more preoccupied and sad. Qi Yun looked at Lin Feng and remembered what he had taught him with the spear. Before, he hadn't realized that his dear king was teaching him something. Lin Feng quickly arrived at the Imperial Palace, the governmental building. It had expanded since before and was now incredibly large. Inside, there was a very thick pure qi. Back then, Lin Feng had created 9 palaces with condensed pure qi and then used some great skills to make them even more suitable for cultivation. Of course, there were also gigantic gardens filled with valuable and rare plants. The guards put down their spears when they saw Lin Feng approaching. That was General Lin Feng. They all knelt down and shouted, "General!" Lin Feng had come back. He had survived the demon episode. "Stand up," said Lin Feng while lifting his hand. They all sensed a strength which made them stand back up. "No need to exaggerate," said Lin Feng while smiling. His silhouette flickered and he immediately entered the palace. The palace was different from the old imperial palace of Shuiyu. The new palace was composed of several buildings which looked quite simple. Lin Feng walked slowly while enjoying the peace and tranquility of the atmosphere. At the same time, he released his awareness and enjoyed the familiar surroundings. After a short while, Lin Feng came across a simple courtyard. There were many peculiar flowers and herbs. The courtyard looked extremely peaceful, but outside the courtyard were the many outstanding Qi Xie guards. Lin Feng had his awareness enter the garden and saw a beautiful woman. She looked more mature than before and had lost some weight. Now her breasts were more plentiful than before. She was wearing a white robe and appeared to be sad while standing there. The general's tomb. The young woman there was Lu Zhanglan's daughter, Lu Fei. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered without producing any wind or noise. He entered the courtyard and appeared not far behind Lu Fei. Her qi wasn't as incredible as in the past and now she just looked sad, maybe hurt. Lin Feng slowly walked towards her. After the general died, he had rushed back to Shuiyu and turned into a demon. He wasn't able to say goodbye to Lu Zhanglan. Lu Fei hadn't even noticed Lin Feng arriving. PSSS, a sound spread in the air that surprised Lu Fei. "Who's there?" said Lu Fei, turning around and releasing some cold qi while grabbing her blade. However, when she saw that face, she froze and remained motionless. "You lost so much weight," said Lin Feng. It was a simple sentence, but it seemed like he was trying to seduce the Lu Fei of his memories. That sentence even made her blush. "You're back," said Lu Fei, trying to control herself. She just wiped her face, trying not to let tears flow down her face. Lin Feng walked forwards and knelt down in front of the general's tomb. He then kowtowed 3 times and continued the same process in front of all the tombs. He remained silent for a long time. The general was an incredible man, but he had died in the hands of despicable people. "Uncle Lu, Uncle Ren, Uncle Feng, I killed Duan Wuya and captured Duan Wudao. Sooner or later I will kill him too. If there is another world, I hope that you are resting in peace there," said Lin Feng in a solemn way. Lin Feng had come from an azure blue celestial body. Sometimes he wondered what it was like back in that world. Were emperors even stronger there? Between that world and the cultivation world, were there links? In the cultivation world, there were emperors and ferocious beasts, but were there real ghosts as well? When Lu Fei heard that Lin Feng had already killed Duan Wuya, she was speechless and knelt down next to Lin Feng. She lowered her head. It seemed like she was trying not to cry. "It's okay to cry," said Lin Feng. Suddenly, Lu Fei couldn't control herself anymore and started crying. She then put her head on Lin Feng's shoulders, onto which her tears were flowing. They remained silent while she was crying. After a long time, Lu Fei calmed down and raised her head. She looked at Lin Feng and asked, "How have you been?" "Fine," said Lin Feng while smiling slightly. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and opened Lu Fei's white cloth. Very quickly, Lin Feng took off her clothes as her beautiful and perfect body appeared. She looked very slim. The clothes she was wearing were mourning clothes, so Lin Feng lit them on fire in front of General Lu's tomb. Lu Fei's mouth was wide open as Lin Feng said, "Uncle Lu wouldn't want to see you like that. Here is his tomb, not a place where people should be living. Put other clothes on and come with me." Lu Fei didn't know what to say. Then Lin Feng said, "When Uncle Lu was at war, he was mostly worried about you and nobody else. Now that you're alive, he would be very happy about that." Lu Fei was surprised and then nodded. She went into a sepulchre and put on a bright fire-red dress again. She looked at Lin Feng and smiled in a gentle way. Even though she was sad, she looked very beautiful. Lin Feng looked Lu Fei and rose up in the air while shouting, "From now on, the entombment must be closed and it is a forbidden area of the imperial palace. Nobody can come here." "Who's this?" thought the guards when they heard that voice. They all rose up in the air and saw 2 silhouettes in the horizon. One of them was Lu Fei. The other one was Lin Feng. They recognized him when he turned his head around. It was General Lin Feng. "General, you're back." Lin Feng's voice had been so loud that many people had heard him in the surroundings. People were extremely happy. Back in the days, Lin Feng had left as a demon and now he had come back. That was a great surprise to them. However, their happiness was being hindered by something else, something Lin Feng didn't know. Chapter 862, Hidden. The news that Lin Feng had come back was spreading everywhere in the imperial palace and the Yangzhou city. There were 2 girls in the king's palace. One of them was the one Lin Feng had planned on marrying back during Shuiyu's fall, Duan Xinyi. She was the one who had suffered the most from the war. On the day of her wedding, which was supposed to be the most beautiful day of her life, a tragic war had claimed so many lives. Everything happened because of her evil family members who wanted to kill her lover, Lin Feng. Duan Wuye, Duan Wudao, her father and her uncle. The results had been tragic. A sea of blood had spilled in Shuiyu when Lin Feng turned into a demon, and ever since, Xinyi has wondered where her lover left to. She had even thought about killing herself, however, she hadn't given up and held hope that her man would come back. Yu Menghe and Lin Hai never blamed her either, they even treated her as their own. They allowed her to live in the palace as she was the king's wife. However, Duan Xinyi was sitting next to a lake and staring at the water. While remembering those times she had spent with Lin Feng, including when they made love, she was giggling. Those times were the best memories of her life. She could also remember when Lin Feng wasn't on her side, she used to draw his portrait. She had the feeling that it had all been a dream. Dong! A stone crashed onto the surface of the water, making it undulate all around. Sister, Lin Feng will come back, you should trust me. Xiaoye said, looking excited. Xiaoye looked more mature than before, and now she could even cheer people up. I know, he will, whispered Duan Xinyi. She sounded like she was trying to put on a brave face. Not far behind them, Lin Feng saw Duan Xinyi's beautiful silhouette. He felt guilty about so many things. After he had turned into a demon, he left and Duan Xinyi alone, and up until now she had been waiting for him. Lin Feng slowly walked towards them and Xiaoye seemed to sense him. She turned her head around and was astonished. Her mouth was wide open and Lin Feng was smiling at her, but at the same time he put his finger on his mouth to tell her to remain silent. Xiaoye nodded and turned around again. Lin Feng walked towards Duan Xinyi and sat down next to her. She was still blankly staring at the water, lost in thought. I know he will come back. Lin Feng slowly stretched his hand and put his arm around Duan Xinyi's waist. She turned her head and froze, she just stared at him blankly. She exhaled twice, it felt like 1,000 years had passed. Lin Feng even had wrinkles under his eyes, of which his eyes looked so deep. She blankly stared at him for a while, she couldn't handle it anymore, she just threw herself in his arms. She was stroking his back with her small hand. At that moment, she didn't look like an aristocrat, she started crying like a baby. Lin Feng held her tightly and caressed her hand. Lin Feng. I knew that you would come back, said Xiaoye, still smiling. She looked pure and innocent, her smile was magnificent and resplendent. Yes, I came back. Everything will be fine from now on, said Lin Feng. Duan Xinyi moved back and looked at Lin Feng in a beautiful way. Alright, Xinyi, let's go and see my parents, said Lin Feng. However, she started shaking when she heard him. What's wrong? Said Lin Feng when he saw the way she was reacting. It didn't look good. Nothing. Your parents went away to look for you, so they won't come back for a while, said Duan Xinyi, holding her smile. Lin Feng frowned and looked at Duan Xinyi. Xinyi, you're lying. I'm not, really, they really left to look for you, said Duan Xinyi while looking at Lin Feng. Lin Feng remained silent for a while. Lin Feng came back. At that moment, Lin Feng turned his head around and saw a silhouette. It was a white-haired old man who he looked very old and weak, his chi was particularly weak as if he had been sick. Lin Feng was astonished as he stared at him. He then asked, what's going on? What on earth is going on? The old man used to be the head of the Yu clan in the past. He used to be the head of one of the strongest clans in Shuiyu. Now, he was old and weak. He didn't even have the chi of a cultivator anymore. His cultivation was crippled. Surprisingly, Yu Qingshan's cultivation had been crippled. Nothing. It's good that you came back, it's good, said Yu Qing-shan, who didn't sound arrogant nor strong like in the past. He had become an ordinary old man, and an ordinary grandfather. Lin Feng was shocked and felt sad, his lips moved as he said, Grandpa. Yu Qing-shan suddenly looked very happy when Lin Feng said that, it was almost as if he had become younger by several years. Good, good. It almost seemed like tears were going to appear in his eyes. Back on that day, Yu Qing-shan had seen his beloved daughter get attacked and became furious, he had even participated in the war as well. He had spent so many years raising Yu Tianming hoping to prove to his daughter that he had done the right thing. However, in the end, no matter what, Duan Renhuang was unwilling to let them off. Nobody knew about Yu Tianming, however, many people knew about Lin Feng and his extraordinary achievements. He was proud of Lin Feng, but he felt guilty as well. Because of what had happened in the past, he was never able to acknowledge Lin Feng as his grandson. But now, Lin Feng had already surpassed his father and his grandfather. Grandpa, where are Mom and Dad? Asked Lin Feng. Suddenly, Duan Xinyi looked extremely nervous as her entire body was covered with an ice-cold sweat. Yu Qing-shan also looked to be hiding something. That question seemed very difficult to answer. Your mom's cultivation level is at the top of the Xian-Qi layer, but she reached a bottleneck, therefore your dad took her away for a while, to see if he can't help her break through to the Tian-Qi layer. Bzzzzzzz. Lin Feng was feeling more and more uncomfortable. You're all lying. Tell me where my parents went. And who crippled your cultivation? Lin Feng was releasing some ice-cold energies now. Xinyi, tell me now, said Lin Feng while looking at Duan Xinyi. Her eyes were tearing as she kept shaking her head. Lin Feng, don't be too hard on Xinyi, she's suffered enough, said Yu Qing-shan. Lin Feng turned his head. Okay Grandpa, then you tell me what has happened. We cannot tell you, said Yu Qing-shan, whose heart was pounding. Lin Feng, stop asking. They're not telling you because they care about you, said Xiaoya. Lin Feng glanced at them as terrifying energies of the Tian-Qi layer washed over them all. A terrifying energy of the Tian-Qi layer. Lin Feng had broken through to the Tian-Qi layer. He was so young and had already broken through to the Tian-Qi layer. Chapter 863, Flames of Fury. Back then, the four amazing cultivators of Shuiyu were already astonishing and worshipped in Shuiyu, but now Lin Feng had broken through to the Tian-Qi layer. For a country like Shuiyu, Lin Feng was already considered a strong cultivator. He had broken through to the Tian-Qi layer like the strongest cultivator of Shuiyu, Duan Renhuang. His talent and natural abilities were just incredible. I can't, he has to be even stronger than that, then someday he will reach the clouds and I will tell him, thought Yu Qing-shan while clenching his fists. He had to do this for Lin Feng's future. Yu Menghe would not blame her father, Menghe herself didn't want Lin Feng to know. Tell me now, said Lin Feng, whose qi was becoming more and more frightening. Yu Qing-shan felt like he was going to fall down from the qi. Stop asking. Practice cultivation and forget about it for now, Lin Feng, said Yu Qing-shan. Yangzhou City is a big city, there are many people in the palace. You're probably not the only ones who know, the army probably knows, the Qi Xie forces and so on, and they won't lie to me, said Lin Feng. Indeed, Yangzhou City was so big and had so many inhabitants. Everybody knew about this. Lin Feng just had to ask and he would know in a few seconds. It wasn't a secret, so could they hide the truth from him? Lin Feng, promise me that if I tell you, you won't attack anyone and won't act carelessly, asked Yu Qing-shan. Okay, I promise, replied Lin Feng without hesitating. Back then, when you turned into a demon, you brought the Qi Xie troops to Duanren border and killed an incredible number of people. The people from the country of Liyun hate you. Then, people from the country of Tianfeng also hate you because of what happened at the great competition of Shuiyu. After you turned into a demon, they came to Shuiyu, said Yu Qing-shan slowly. Lin Feng was even more furious. As expected, each action a person took had consequences. And then what happened? Said Lin Feng nervous. They sent some strong cultivators to the former imperial city and invaded the palace. Then they attacked Yangzhou's city and wanted to capture Xianyi. They threatened to rape her, saying the widow couldn't stay single forever and many more horrible things, said Yu Qingshan. Your parents couldn't agree to let them act that way. So they attacked the strong cultivators of both countries, including some Tian-level cultivators. Even if your parents had broken through to the Tian-Qi layer as well, they couldn't recover completely, so they were defeated by the last two cultivators. It is also at that moment that my cultivation was crippled. How are my parents now? Asked Lin Feng, feeling extremely worried. The cultivators of the two countries kept your parents in the ancient palace of Shuaiyu and then took them away. They said that your parents would never come back to Shuaiyu unless we brought Xianyi and all your concubines to them. Otherwise, they would kill your parents. They did that to humiliate Shuaiyu and to humiliate you, said Yu Qingshan, who sounded furious as well. Lin Feng, everything is my fault, I am a bad wife, said Duan Xianyi, who felt guilty. She had the feeling that she kept hurting the people around her. Lin Feng took Duan Xianyi's hand, shook his head and said, you're only an excuse for them. Without you, they would have found another excuse to humiliate Shuaiyu and me. Indeed, they all knew that. When they said that they wanted us to bring Xianyi there, it was just to humiliate Shuaiyu even more, said Yu Qingshan. His heart felt painful, he felt powerless. He had witnessed everything without being able to do anything. How are my parents now? Are they safe? Asked Lin Feng. He was extremely worried about his parents. Nothing happened to them. The enemies put them on the gate outside of the former imperial city of Shuaiyu. They used them as totems to humiliate Shuaiyu, said Yu Qingshan. His face was red with anger. At that moment, a terrifying qi was emerging out Lin Feng's body. Yu Qingshan was shaking, that qi was making him suffocate, but he found the strength to shout, Lin Feng, you promised me you wouldn't go and attack them. You are our only hope, all of us see you as our only hope. I know. I will not attack. But I will make them pay and it will be unbearable for them, shouted Lin Feng coldly. Snow eagles, the terrifying voice shook the entire palace. Immediately, 7 terrifying Tian-level beasts appeared in the sky and peeked down. They appeared around Lin Feng and turned into human beings. Boom boom boom. The ground was shaking and fissures were appearing. The 7 snow eagles looked terrifying, and Yu Qingshan kept shaking. Those terrifying wild beasts were all Tian-level beasts. Master, said the 7 snow eagles while bowing in front of Lin Feng. Yu Qingshan's chest pounded harder. He was absolutely stunned, astonished, he was about to faint. Master, Tian-level beasts, those beasts were calling Lin Feng master. What was going on? After Lin Feng had turned into a demon, what had happened? Yu Qingshan couldn't think anymore, his vision was even blurry and he was shivering from head to foot. Those Tian-level beasts were bowing in front of Lin Feng and calling him master. Many Qixia forces rushed over as well and saw Lin Feng, that young man from Shuaiyu who used to be so arrogant. Their general had seemingly gained a certain reputation outside of the country as well. Those 7 Tian-level beasts were calling him master. Lu Fei was astonished as well and shaking. Incredible things always happened to Lin Feng. She was astonished each time she saw him after they were apart. One of you can turn into a beast, that'll be enough, said Lin Feng. One snow eagle immediately dashed to the sky and turned into a gigantic snow eagle again. Its qi was absolutely terrifying and oppressive. Besides, the 6 others dashed to the skies as well and disappeared, as if they had never appeared. Wait for me, said Lin Feng, jumping up onto the back of the snow eagle. It then opened its gigantic wings and began flying with incredible speed. Yu Qingshan watched as Lin Feng and the eagle disappeared. For a very long time, he stood there, speechless. Then some tears appeared in his eyes, he felt proud. Lin Feng would be redoubtable later in life. It seemed like Yu Shan had been too worried. A terrifying chi streaked across the sky above Yangzhou City, surprising its people. They had never seen Tian-level beasts which could turn into human beings. However, they could recognize Lin Feng, the young and outstanding man from Yangzhou City. Lin Feng was riding a Tian-level beast, but he didn't know what the former imperial city had become. At that moment, many people were watching Lin Feng fly in the direction of the former imperial city. At the same time, the news that Lin Feng had come back was heard everywhere. According to the legends, he had turned into a demon back then and had almost died. Now, the king came back and he would reign over Shuiyu. And this time, he had already broken through to the Tian Qi layer. Duan Renhuang was already a middle-aged man by the time he hit the Tian Qi layer. Besides, so many people of the same age as Lin Feng hadn't even broken through to the Xian Qi layer yet. Lin Feng was riding a Tian-level beast, a terrifying Tian-level beast. Those beasts could turn into human beings, and Lin Feng was their master. Lin Feng had become the master of such powerful creatures. Did they belong to an empire of low quality like Dragon Mountain? Chapter 864, Gloomy Young Master. In a palace of the former imperial city of Shuiyu, there was a young man riding a ferocious beast. His chi was particularly dark. What can they do? He's just a cultivator of the Xian Qi layer, nothing more. We can just go and capture him without taking any effort. Why join hands when you can capture his parents and make an alliance with another country, said a young man coldly. He seemed angry. He had already broken through to the 9th Xian Qi layer and was about to break through to the Tian Qi layer, but the environment there wasn't good enough for his cultivation, which annoyed him. Jia, your son is not an ordinary young man. Many people are looking for him. His parents are in our hands. If he comes back, we'll threaten him with them. That depressing voice came from a coffin. Apart from that coffin, there was another coffin filled with extremely thick gloomy qi. So what? Even if he's strong, he has only broken through to the Xian Qi layer. Back then, he finished first at the great competition of Shuiyu, Shuisha, and the dead tree were just pieces of trash, said the young man despisingly. I think that we should kill them both and then capture his wife and show him. Then we can put her on the main gate, isn't that the same? I understand, you are bored. When we were in Yangzhou City, we captured a maid and she's really fresh. If you want to have some fun, said a voice coming from another coffin. Alright, where is she? Asked the young master, seemingly excited. He was in a small and boring country. It was not as exciting as being in his own country, the Black Feather Empire. There was also no access to the cultivation facilities of the Tian Sha sect. He didn't understand why the sect wasn't capturing Lin Feng. Okay, we'll get her ready for you, he, said a voice coming from another coffin. The coffin then rose up in the air and left the palace. In the courtyard was a beautiful woman. She looked pure and innocent. It was the young woman whom Lin Feng had saved in the past, Yi Shui. Afterwards, she had spent some time with Lin Feng's mother, Yu Menghe. Not bad, thought the young evil master when he saw her. His eyes were twinkling with excitement. That girl looked so pure. She was probably a virgin, perfect for the young master. He walked towards Yi Shui and tried to put his fingers on her lips, but she avoided him. She was looking at that gloomy young man in an ice-cold way. Kacha! At that moment, an evil voice could be heard as a silhouette crawled out of the coffin. He held a broken jade in his hand. Gloomy master, Lin Feng came back. It won't be long until he comes here, said the young master. He had been waiting for Lin Feng for too long. Finally, it was time. The gloomy young man looked at Yi Shui in an evil way and said, I'm still in the mood to play with you though. He then grabbed Yi Shui and brought her to the main gate. Many people had gathered at the gate. This was normal every day. Many people looked at the two people on the gate. Two geniuses from Shuiyu, and their son. They were so unlucky. Shuayu had been invaded by two powerful countries and some strong cultivators of the Tianqi layer had appeared. Shuayu couldn't do anything. Lin Feng had only one solution, to turn into a demon again. The two people hanging on the gate were Lin Feng's parents, his father Lin Hai and his mother Yu Menghe. They were both injured and their cultivations crippled. Their qi was extremely weak. They looked so old and tired already. Their lips and skin were extremely dry, their hair was messy, they were barely breathing. They looked like they were about to die. Many local people from Shuayu felt incredibly sad each time they saw them. Menghe, I have been useless my entire life, said Lin Hai, feeling extremely guilty. Yu Menghe had chosen him and they had never enjoyed a happy life. What are you talking about? We have a wonderful son and two beautiful daughters-in-law. I just want them to live on. I just hope that Lin Feng never comes, said Yu Menghe. Because her mouth was so dry, it was difficult to talk. Your son has come back. He's in Yangzhou City and will probably be heading this way now, someone said. It was a young man at the top of the gate. He looked evil, and next to him was a beautiful girl. They knew that there were many strong cultivators there. Both of them already comprised two of the four geniuses of Shuayu and they were defeated by these people. Therefore, if Lin Feng came to fight and didn't turn into a demon again, he would die for sure, and if he turned into a demon, he would never recover again. Your son is such a piece of trash, that girl is so fresh and your son has never fucked her. Good for me, said the gloomy master in an absolutely and disgusting way. He then put his hand on Yi Shue's mouth while she was trying to shout. You animal! Let her off, shouted Lin Hai furiously. Why would I? She's rejecting me, the gloomy master. How could I let her off, said Jia Jia while smiling. He shook his hand and a coffin appeared in front of him. You've probably never been fucked in a coffin, I will show you what it feels like, said Jia Jia while grabbing Yi Shue and stuffing her into the coffin. He then sat down on her. He looked monstrously evil. After making love with her, he would absorb her feminine qi. What a pleasure that would be. You dirty animal, shouted Lin Hai and Yu Menghe. Shouting was useless though. The coffin was slowly closing itself while the gloomy master was about to start raping her. One could almost see him already. In the distance, the crowd didn't dare say anything but the scene was really disgusting and tragic. Lin Hai was speechless and devastated. Boom, at that moment, the coffin broke open and Yi Shue's was propelled out. The master then appeared with blood on his mouth and he was looking at Yi Shue coldly. You bastard, said Jia Jia while spitting out some blood. You humiliated me, a master. You don't deserve to receive my attention. Good, very good, the master's voice was becoming colder and colder. Now I will kill you and then I will suck your qi. This doesn't seem to be a bad idea either. Bzzz, bzzz, at that moment, a strong wind started to blow. The gloomy master was surprised when he gazed into the distance. What a powerful bestial qi, thought the gloomy master. He then shouted, Who are you? At the same time, people rose up in the air and released a powerful qi. Those people were from Lai Yun and Tian Feng. The Tian Sha sect had invaded Shuayu and the people who had joined in later were following their orders. All in all, they had the same goal, kill Lin Feng. Master, shouted Yi Shue. The silhouette in the distance was getting nearer, it was Lin Feng. Lin Feng, at that moment, the crowd in the former imperial city was astonished. It was Lin Feng. Oh! Lin Hai and Yu Menghe sighed. Even though they were grateful, they were sad. Lin Feng couldn't rival with those people. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.